In just a moment, I'll get everything, doing the last little bits over here to get things set up. More people coming in.
Are we doing this Facebook Live also?
Yeah, I'm attempting to get that set up right now, and it's being a bit slow getting it going. And I've got it recorded, so if we can't do that, we at least we'll have the recording. But I'd love for it to be live also.
Wait.
Yeah, I may just let that go. Come on, come on. Yeah, this is not. Oh, technology. Okay, maybe not. All right, I may experiment with it later. All right. And it looks like it's still in process. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. This is the first MeWe Enlightening talks. We currently have fairs that we run in 4 cities in the Northwest and online. We also have awakening panels. So this is the first time that we're offering a series of talks, just experimenting with all different sorts of ways of sharing our work. We're, say, sort of a collective of hundreds of practitioners offering our work to the public and supporting each other and sharing together. So tonight we have 4 of us that are going to be sharing our work. We're each going to be about half an hour. So each will be about half an hour. You'll have a chance to ask questions. Some of us will have a chance to ask questions at the end, and then others, I'll create a breakout room. And if you want to, you're welcome to go into the breakout room and chat with that practitioner. I think all of us too, we have our work offered at particular prices tonight. Many of them are discounts. Most of them are discounts, maybe all of them. So if you're interested in going deeper with us, get interested in our work, it's a great time to purchase sessions, things like that. You can purchase them tonight, or you can also sign up very soon, and the prices will be honored, I think, for most of us for a few days. We don't have a particular theme for tonight. I love all the different people coming together. I'm going to choose a way that we're sharing the first time, and I'm going to be sharing my work tonight too, just experimenting and seeing how this works. And in hindsight, I was like, what am I thinking, doing all the admin and the logistics and sharing at the same time? But, you know, it's a journey. All right. And we have many different events too. I'll put a little bit in the chat too. I'll put, just so you have the basics of what we're sharing tonight. These are all the titles. And then, we love to get feedback on our events too. So I'll put the information in here right now. That if you're willing to share your information, just share in a feedback form and give us some feedback before you leave tonight or soon after you leave, it would be really helpful for us. And then if you're willing to share your email address and be on our email lists, we'll enter you into a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice. So that supports us as well. All right, and I'll put contact information on everybody in the chat as we go along too. Well, so the events that we have tonight, we have group healing with Satora Oswald. We have Love is in the Stars with Cara James. Decoding Microbes for Seekers, Healers, and Mystics. And there's a mistake in here, that is with YinJoy, Dr. Gem YinJoy. Get that fixed. And then we'll have Ascending the Spiral 7 Worldview Consciousness Lessons with me, Laureli Shimayo. All right. So those are all the things that are happening tonight. And we'll each share how you can ask questions. Probably you'll be putting things in the chat, and then we'll address things at the end of the talk. That everyone will share what format's going to work for them. All right, and Satora is going to be sharing with us first. So, and I'll keep admitting people and ensuring people are muted. All right, and I guess, and I have not renamed myself, but it looks like everyone else maybe has gone through and done that. I'll rename myself too. So those of us that are sharing tonight will have our name, P in front of our name. So that's how you can find us and you'll know who we are. Yeah, so there we go. So Satora, welcome. You're our very first speaker in our MeWe Enlightening Talk series.
Well, thank you, Laureli. Thanks so much for organizing this and inviting me. I'm Satora with Well of Love. I'm an energy healer and a channel. And I'm really nervous right now. So what I would like to start with is a grounding meditation and an energy healing that will also give you like a sample experience of the flavor of energy work I do. And so I want to, and then there will be about 10 minutes at the end to ask questions. I might also add some, part of my energy work is an ancient healing art called, an ancient combined with neurobiology, modern neurobiology healing art that's called Cara, where you hold points on your body. That's a non-invasive way to balance the energy systems and the organs in your body. And it works on all levels, emotional, physical, mental. So I might, if there is time, I can show you a few points that you can hold on yourself that will be supportive for these times to support the immune system and the lungs. That would be after the healing. So I invite you to get comfortable, whatever that means for you. Be comfortable and make sure we don't get distracted for the next 15 minutes or so. And if you wish, close your eyes, or you can just soften your gaze. And let's start with taking 3 deep breaths together. Breathing in, breathing out. And in. And out. And in. And out. And I invite you to just allow your breath to just move in and out and supply you with love, with oxygen. Fill every cell of your body with life. And just watch your breath coming in and out. There's nothing you need to do. And in this meditation, we'll do some guided meditation. And I want to say in the beginning that even if you don't see or feel or sense anything, just by intending, by putting out the intention to whatever it is, you're putting out the intention during the meditation, I can guarantee that something will happen in you, even though you might not feel anything or see anything yet. But just know that just by following this energy flow and listening, and being open to allowing things to happen, things will happen. There's really nothing you need to do. Just relax and follow your breath and just watch it do its work. The marvelous work of supplying you with divine energy. And now as you follow your breath, let yourself fall into your heart center, the center of your chest. Just bring your attention there, gently. And from here, from your heart, allow your attention to move down your spine, through your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, into your root. As you keep allowing your breath to come in and out, and feel how from your root, your energy, your attention, and maybe some love, gratitude is moving down into the earth, into the center of the earth, connecting deeply with the earth. And as you allow this to happen, you can feel, or maybe you don't feel it, but the energy of the earth, the love, the life energy, the nourishment of the earth is moving back up the same way, coming into your root chakra, moving up your spine to your heart, to your throat, your head, your crown, and it moves up through your head and up to the sun. It connects with the sun, the Father Principle. And from there it connects, it goes deeper to what we call the Great Central Sun. We could call it Source. It doesn't matter how you call it. It is the source of all creation. And the energy just travels there. And as before with the earth, Great Central Sun, source of all creation, is now sending energy back to you. And the energy flows to the crown of your head, your throat, and you land in your heart again, where you started this journey. And as you rest and relax in your heart, you may perceive or feel or see this stream of energy, this infinite supply of love and life energy moving through you, through your body, from the earth up to the source, and from source through your body down into the earth. This is a continuous stream that is always there. And the more you put your energy to it, the more you become aware of it. And the stronger it can flow within you. It's always there, always available to you. And you can tap into it at any time. It is supplying you even if you don't know about it. But once you can put your attention to it, you can intentionally tap into it and make it so much stronger. And just enjoy this flow for a moment, resting in your heart, the place of unconditional love. And your heart is like an energy hub. In your energy body. From your heart, you can supply any part in your body. You can connect to the earth, connect to source, connect to other dimensions, other beings. Or you can just come in and cuddle in your heart and enjoy your own love. And as you rest in this beautiful place, is there any place in your body that is asking for attention right now? And if there's any place that needs attention in your body or maybe your emotional body, bring your attention and your attention there. And allow it to be supplied and filled with the love from your heart, with the love that comes from that stream that's always flowing through you. And you may even get curious and ask, what do you need right now? Is there an ache, a pain, tension? And just by bringing your attention lovingly to this place, healing begins. And with curiosity, you might even get answers from your own inner doctor, your own inner wise one, from the cells of your body who know what they need. And if it doesn't come right now, it may come to you in a dream or in a sudden flash of insight, or you may read something later. But just by putting out the question and being curious, you will get answers. And now slowly bring your attention back to your heart, the heart center, your resting place. And just intend for your body, every cell of your body, every layer of your energy body, your emotional body, your mental body, to be filled with the love and life energy that is streaming through you, that's available for you. And I'll just allow a few moments for this to happen. For your cells, your bodies to recharge. And I invite you to send thanks and gratitude to your body and all the cells, to your energy bodies, all that keeps you alive and being able to experience and navigate this world and this life. And big thanks to yourself for showing up here, for showing up for yourself, for showing up in this life at this time. Appreciation for your courage and your willingness to grow and to be and to share your presence here with us at this time. That is a wonderful gift you are giving every one of us, the world, the earth, and yourself. And know that this place in your heart also is always available to you. You can always find love and a resting place in your own heart. And if ever you can't, and it's hard to get there, difficult, you can always ask for help if you wish, and if this is something you're willing to do. There are angels and other beings that are waiting to be of assistance, and they can help you access your own heart, your own love, access this infinite stream of love and energy. And now, time to slowly come back. Bring your attention back to the room slowly, while you can still rest in your heart. You can be there and be present with us at the same time. Take your time to come back, and whenever you're ready, you can lift your gaze or open your eyes. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me.
Laureli, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So I think I almost used up 20 minutes. How much time did I use?
You've got 12 more minutes. We're starting 10 minutes after the planned time. Yeah.
So as I promised, I want to show you these points that you can hold on your own body. There is this system that is part of my energy work that I'm learning is based on the meridians and the 5 elements. It's an Asian healing art. And it's totally safe. You cannot do anything wrong. You cannot harm yourself. And it's just light touch on your own body. And the points that support the lung are when you have your collarbone, and there is the middle, there's this little bulge, and right under that bulge or anywhere along the collarbone underneath it, you can hold this point here. And on the same side of the body, so I'm doing it on the left right now. You can also do the same thing on the right, or you can do both sides, one after the other. And then the second point is at the end of the rib cage, right underneath the rib cage, towards the center of the body. So you can just hold these 2 points. Suggested is 30 seconds, but you can hold them as long as you wish. Anytime you have your hands free. And that supports the lung meridian, supports your lung. And you can also do the same thing on the other side, the right side. You can do both. That makes it double strong, but it's totally okay to just do one side. And you might even feel, you know, when you're done with the point, when it has enough, but you cannot do it too long. So you can hold it for an hour if you want it. Nothing happens. I mean, it doesn't harm you. And the other thing to support the immune system is in the crook of your elbow. Right, yeah. So in the crook of your elbow, you can take your hands, the 3 fingers, and put them in there. Crook of your elbow. And the other finger, or the other hand, on the opposite side of the body, the same point that we just had for the lung, that's under the rib cage. It's the same point. Except this time, one point is on one side of the body and the other point is on the opposite side of the body. So it looks like this. And as before, you can also do it the other way around. With the right elbow and then the left point under the rib cage. And that supports the immune system. This point in the crook of your elbow is also it's a great point for boundaries, for personal boundaries. So you can at any time you can just hold those 2 points too, if you feel your boundaries need some strengthening. And I want to say that I'm sharing this with the permission of my teacher. I'm a practitioner in training. I'm basically ready for certification. I haven't done it yet. So I'm learning this from Dr. Stephanie Mines, who created this branch of the Jin. And the website is, I'm going to put it in the chat, but if you want to learn more about this, I'm a practitioner. I can show you some of the self. I mean, I can do treatments with you and show you some of the self-care. But if you're interested in learning more, she would be the place to go. So I'm going to put that in the chat, the website. So does anybody have any questions?
I know someone just expressed a thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe give people an idea of what kinds of questions they might ask, what different topics.
Oh, what different topics?
I could say it might be about the meditation that you did, or about any of the particular points or practice of the points. It might be anything about working with you. Yeah, and someone else expressed that the boundary one was particularly powerful.
Yeah, it's a really important one, especially now in this time. I use that on myself a lot, every day. So all these self-care points, that is something you can do every day. You can do it every day.
Yeah, so one question is, are the points you are referring to acupoints or meridian areas, or both?
Yeah, they're called sacred sites, and the original healing art is Jinjitsu that came here to America from Japan. And my teacher has created her own branch of Jinjin and calls it Jinjin Terra. But all the basics of Jinjitsu are in there. So those are acupressure points, yes. And they are along the meridian, most of them. And yeah, and the Jinjin Terra is basically an enhanced system that she put her neurological research, combined it with the Jinjin and added many applications to it that are specifically geared towards resolving shock and trauma. And it works. I've been doing it on myself for a while now, so thank you.
And someone said again, what is the name of the energy work? So maybe if you could spell it, or maybe putting it in the chat would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat. So that particular one is called Jinjin Terra. I also have my own energy work that came to me where I work with ascended masters and angels that work through me. That's called quantum energetic realignment. So I combine both of them. Yeah. And all of this can be done remotely. Right now I can't. Usually a Jinjin Terra session would be with touch and, having somebody on a massage table, but my other energy work can be done remotely, and the Jinjin Terra to some degree can be done remotely also. And what I love about the Jinjin Terra, that you get to go home with whatever is up for you that needs support, that you get a self-care application for that. So you can work on it on your own at home.
Yeah, and we're just experimenting with this format too. So we will, if anyone has questions that they want to ask Satora in a smaller group format, I'll open up a breakout room for her to go in. I think I have some experience, but only so much experience. I think I have to put, I don't think I can add people after I set up the room. So anyone that wants to go in and have a conversation with her, I just need to know ahead of time, and then I'll get you set up to go in. And you can join back to this room whenever you want. It's just an optional thing that we're making available. And Satora's information was in the chat, and I'll put it in the chat again too. So you can always reach out to her after the event and ask any questions. And I'm sure she'd love if you're interested in doing a session, something like that. It's great. And then someone wrote, that you wrote the tarot approach. Okay, great. So you're putting notes in here. Great.
Yeah, double check it. Right.
Yeah, and feel free, you can hang out so if anyone wants to go in a breakout room with Satora, it's just going to be a little room kind of that forms off of this one, and then you can just join back in whenever you want. If you want to go in that, just mention in the chat, and then Satora. So I'll know that if people are requesting it, then I'll start to get the room set up, and if people aren't requesting it, you won't go in either, just so you know And if you do go in it, you just click to come right back in. All right, and more people continue to join. Great. Well, thank you so much, Satora, for opening this up and starting us off and being the first in what I hope are many, many talks to come. Super exciting and very
You're
gentle,
welcome.
spacious way to begin.
Yeah, I thought it's a good way to get something.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody.
Well, so our next speaker, we'll go right into our next speaker. If anyone wants to join the breakout room with Satora, just please write it in the chat. So our next speaker is Cara James, and her talk is Love is in the Stars, and I know she'll be sharing her screen for part of the time, so you definitely want to be able to see. All right, great. So Cara.
All right. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, not okay. Perfect. Satora, first of all, sorry for barging in. I didn't realize you were still going there. And Mars is transiting my moon, everybody. So I'm fired up and ready to go. And apparently I just can't wait to share it with you about the Venus star point. So let me get my screen shared here and we'll get going. Let's see if it wants to cooperate. Okay, 1 second here. And Laureli, could you nod your head if you can see my screen, okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, welcome. I'm Cara James. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm going to be talking today about Venus and love and its various forms. I call myself an intuitive astrologer because not only do I do astrology readings, natal charts, transits, progressions, all of that, I also am a trained clairvoyant, and I weave intuitive messages in with my astrology as well. And I should say I'm in Portland, Oregon, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you. So 2020, quite a powerful year, especially in the cosmos. We knew coming in that we were starting 3 great cosmic cycles. Saturn and Pluto met up in January. We had Jupiter and Pluto getting together several times this year, and Saturn and Jupiter, all things that only happen every few decades, were lining up for this year. So we knew that there would be changes in our our social systems. We knew there would be issues with borders. All of it's come out in quite an interesting way, a little different than expected, but the themes were right on cue. And to top off an already crazy kind of cosmic year, we also have a ton of planets retrograding, including Venus and Mars. And they only retrograde every few years or so. And we're all in extra close quarters with our loved ones. So we're going to be feeling this relational period even more. I'll share a little bit more as we go along. So Venus is our love goddess, our love planet, and she is currently what's called out of bounds. And you can see here, this is a little map of the globe, and if you can see my cursor, the pink band is the path that the planets travel between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. And they're kind of playing by the rules when they're traveling through that band. And periodically a planet will pop above or below the line, and they're considered out of bounds. And this means they don't have to operate in the way that they might normally. So Venus is just kind of not playing by her typical rules, and she's about to go retrograde. So she's starting to slow down. And this is a period of time where we typically kind of put the brakes on a little bit, slow down, especially focus on our self-care. We take a look at the closest relationships to us and have some extra space for evaluating what we bring to them, what they're bringing to us, how we can create more beauty and harmony in our worlds. And Venus, in this period of being out of bounds, not quite playing by the rules, and retrograde, not fully expressing herself as she might normally, is also in the sign of Gemini, which is the sign of the twins. So in Gemini, she has several different minds about her. So if you're feeling extra pressure or you're feeling torn, there's a lot of emotions and things related to your partnerships, and that could be friendships, love relationships, work relationships, all kinds, just know that we're in a really interesting season coming on the tails of already a bit of a crazy year. And these are the dates for Venus's retrograde. She goes retrograde on May 12th and continues through June 24th. And there's actually a period in June where we have a lot of planets retrograde. We have Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and Neptune all retrograde at the same time. So again, these are times where their energies aren't quite expressed as well. And we can see that it's popping out in different ways. And we also have a big solar eclipse on June 20th, and it happens at a really powerful point in the sky. So there's just a lot going on. Just wanted to set the scene here for you. So who is Venus? We know her as the great goddess, the divine feminine. She's cultured and gracious. She's the focus of our desire. She's beautiful and refined, but she's also seductive. And Venus can be jealous. She deserves praise, and she knows it. She represents the things in life that we desire. Could be the colors in your home, the clothes you wear, the comfort that you seek and you create around yourself and your life. And Venus also represents what we value, what we're attached to. She really and truly is that feminine ideal. And you can see here some more primitive versions of Venus, but she's taken many forms throughout history and throughout many cultures: fertility goddess, warrior goddess, sexual goddess, even virginal goddess. And she takes on different forms and roles based on her placement in our natal charts, our birth charts, which is that map of the sky at the time you were born. So in your birth chart, Venus may take on the fierce, independent warrior energy of Aries, or she may have that sweet, nurturing face of Cancer, many different varieties. And you really look to her relationships with other planets in your natal chart to kind of get a sense of what your life might be like, how you express yourself, the types of relationships that you may call in or find yourself in to work things out with. And when we see her connecting with Mars, we get an understanding of our sexual needs. When we see her in a relationship to Uranus, we get a sense of how much freedom and excitement she needs. Saturn will tell us about her loyalty and diligence. Pluto can bring out her intensity. Neptune can bring out idealism. So there are many, many ways to get to work with the goddess in your natal chart. And because life's complicated, and we're all here working out karma in one form or another, sometimes her expressions are smooth and gentle, and other times they can be quite cacophonous. And my natal Venus in my birth chart is particularly challenged. It's in a very tense relationship with the controlling planet Pluto. So I've attracted some pretty interesting people into my world along the way. And so when I learned about this thing that I'm going to present to you called the Venus star chart or the Venus star point, I was pretty excited to see that there were other ways of working with Venus beyond the one that's caused me some trouble in my natal chart. So I'll show you a little bit more here in a minute. So we all know the little tune or the little poem, Starlight, Star Bright, First Star I See Tonight. That's referring to Venus. And technically Venus is not a star, but a planet. She's the brightest object in the sky after the sun and the moon. And her brilliance is just dazzling. So throughout time, her symbol has been the rose, which is interesting. It's actually an anagram for Eros, that sexual love. And in Rome, especially, she was known by the rose, and that was the symbol or the emblem of the sacred priestesses in the goddesses' temples. In medieval times, there were great Gothic cathedrals that arose that featured roses, those great rose windows that you can see that are facing west, facing where we see Venus rising as an evening star. And I thought this was interesting too, as I was learning a little bit more about the goddess, is how she transferred energies to Mother Mary in the Christian church. Even the Christian rosary has the name Rose in it, and she the necklace here bears quite a bit of resemblance to the glyph, the symbol for the planet Venus. And I'll have you note these 5 points, these larger beads around the rosary, may in fact refer to something you're going to learn in a minute about the Venus star point and the 5 times that she stations as she moves throughout the sky in an 8-year period. So we'll see that in a minute. So the things I'm sharing with you tonight come from a book called Venus Star Rising. This is actually pretty new in terms of what astrologers know. My understanding is that the author channeled a lot of this information, and it resonated completely when I saw it. And so while I'm not necessarily an expert at the Venus star work, it resonated so deeply I had to start sharing it, especially with the partnership season that we are in. And we're really just beginning through her work and others to really understand Venus and her relationship with us on Earth. So here we can see the mandala that Venus makes as she orbits the sky. All planets make these absolutely gorgeous mandalas just throughout their orbits. I wish I could show you the actual video of them where you see them spiraling throughout, but it's a little trickier via Zoom. And her cycle is 584 days. She retrogrades 40 days every cycle. And she's the only one of all the planets in their mandalas to make this beautiful 5-pointed star. Here we have another mandala. This is Venus and Earth doing their cosmic dance. And in this process that I'll show you in a minute about the Venus star point, we see Venus and the sun are approaching one another from opposite directions. And during the retrogrades of Venus, they kiss each other, they conjunct, they come very close together. And Venus pauses for those 40 days at specific star points or star gates, which form what we call the Venus star. So I'll show you this chart here. And what you should know just starting off is the Venus star point is kind of a convenient way to start to get to know yourself better and get to know relationships. You don't have to have a birth time, just a birthday. So that makes it a little bit easier. And the Venus star point sheds some light on your life purpose. It talks about your relationships, and the deeper you work with it, you can understand attraction and connection and why you form certain partnerships and how you give and take in those. So here, if you can see the pentagram, this is actually these points here at each of the ends of the star are where the sun and Venus kiss, where they come together at 5 different times throughout an 8-year period. And you can think of this as one of them is the head of the star, and there's 2 arms and 2 legs, and that will come back to play in a little bit. But today we're mostly going to focus on the head. And we all have 5 Venus star points in our charts. This is, we look it up based on your birthday and we lay it over your chart and get more layers of meaning and understanding for how to work with the goddess and your love life. Just a few other things. This pattern that Venus makes in the sky, it's a very well-known ratio that produces harmony in nature. And it's just so stunning to see how all of these things work together in creation. So just a little inspiration here. The Venus star point really represents the divine feminine of our solar system. And the more we work with her, work with Venus, the more we can really connect to our creativity and be able to bring in even more of what it is that we desire in our life to receive and also to give. So we see here the Fibonacci series, the Vitruvian man, all of those follow these same ratios of beauty and harmony. So Venus is known as both a morning star and an evening star. She has always had a dual nature. We know her as the love goddess and also the goddess of war. She rules both night and day. And what's interesting is that Venus will start out, we just have to choose a starting spot. Let's say she starts out as an evening star. again, the brightest star, so easy to spot. And she'll travel and she'll, command the night sky until Venus goes retrograde. When Venus goes retrograde, meaning appears to be moving backward from our limited view on Earth, she ducks down below the horizon for those 40 days. And when she emerges 40 days later, she's now a morning star. She rises in the morning until the next retrograde, when she goes down below the horizon and then emerges as an evening star. So kind of fascinating. Maybe you knew this, I didn't know this about Venus until recently. In astrology, she also has a dual nature. She rules two signs, Libra and Taurus, both very different goddesses, as we'll see in a minute. And in Mayan astrology, Venus had many different personalities based on the seasons, also over an 8-year period. So there's a lot of crossover with the Venus star point, as we'll see in a minute. And they believed that when Venus went retrograde, she again descended below the horizon, went down into the underworld. And it was during these days that Venus could not be seen that they would start to prepare for war. And they really saw her emerging from the underworld ready for battle. That didn't necessarily mean they were going in for it, but they had recognized over these times that that was part of their cultural cycle. So there are times too we can pay attention and see in our own lives if this makes sense. But as Venus changes gears, notice if there are more tensions and all of that. There are different ways to work with her. So you're gonna, in a minute, I have some charts where you can take a look at your birthday and find out, but your main star point, your head star point, is either a morning star or an evening star. And this says a bit about you and your love life and how you engage with others in the world around you. And I'll share just a little bit here. The morning star, which is, I was already referencing that kind of warrior goddess rising. She's very yang or yang energy. She's more of an earth goddess. She comes from the underworld. She rules the daytime. She's a slower moving goddess, but once she gets going, she really gets going. And this is the star that rules Taurus. And she's really a primal, raw, sensual goddess. Then we also have folks who are evening stars, and these are people who are more of a more celestial goddess. This is the goddess that rules the nighttime. She's a little bit more refined and socially acceptable. I have a friend, I was telling her about the morning star and evening star goddess and was trying to figure out, are you more of a morning star or an evening star? And she's so refined, I assumed she was an evening star. But then she told me that all of her romance novels weren't exciting enough, and we quickly realized she was really a wild morning star goddess. So we'll see in a minute what you are. So morning star can really express their anger and activism. There's a lot of energy to get things going, to initiate, very connected to the physical senses, and doesn't necessarily need a partner to validate themselves. This is just how they more naturally approach relationships in the world. Of course, we all can move through these in a variety of ways. And when they partner, they're often coming together for sex, fertility, and reproduction. Whereas the evening star, more of that Libra Venus goddess, is a little more intent on keeping the peace, rich imagination, poetic, very alluring. Sometimes has to remember that they do have a body because they're that celestial energy of, wanting to float about a bit. And more often evening star goddesses are looking outside of themselves for approval or validation. They'll often couple with someone for some sense of completeness. Now, every generation belongs to a different star group, and we'll start taking a look at your stars, and then I'll share a little more about each one of these. So the best way it seemed to do it was to just start with one. So if you can see my screen, hopefully you can. I have birth dates here, and you really just need to look and see These are people born in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and early 60s, not all in order. But take a look and see if you are a Cancer star point. This is the head of the star in her transit throughout your chart. And over here on the left, you can see if Venus was an ES, evening star, or MS, morning star, at the time you were born. And if your birthday isn't here, don't worry, you're not a Cancer star point, and you'll take a look at yours in just a minute. So people who are Cancer star points are often more focused on home and family, motherhood, the things we think of associated with Cancer, ancestors, intuition, the past. One of their great gifts, and this is both in just generally in life and also in relationships, is that they have a natural, easygoing demeanor. They have a real ability and interest in nourishing others, and they just have that sense of being able to understand people so deeply. One of the liabilities, one of the obstacles with people who have Cancer star point are around wounds from what they didn't receive from their mother and how they are working that out in relationships now. They take a very love and heart-centered approach to life, love to express their feelings, really dedicated to providing protection, food, warmth, and security to those in need. They're wonderful at creating a sense of community. And just so you remember, this is not just if you are a Cancer sun sign, this is if you are a Cancer star point based on your birthday on this chart. And you might also be a Cancer sun sign, and you might resonate with some of this regardless. But finding the right nest and creating and feathering the right nest is a big part of being a Cancer star point. And these are layers that if you might not have seen this in your chart normally, and so you get to work with some different energies here. Some things to be aware of if you're a Cancer star point in relationship: codependency, over sentimentality, moods going up and down. Things for you and your lovers and partners to be aware of. And they often have a highly developed appreciation for music, poetry, the arts, make great counselors and therapists, may enjoy working from home, and all things related to healing and caring for others. Now, you can see here in the chart that we also have the degrees of Cancer. If you are into astrology and you have your chart, maybe you have your chart handy, once you find your Venus star point, you can look to the degree that it falls in your chart, and you'll get deeper layers of meaning. So we go, okay, Cancer star point, she has all these wonderful traits that we just described, and how does that get expressed in her life related to her purpose? And we can see what sector, what house this star point falls in. And so she might use this Cancer energy really strongly in her work life, or she might use this really strongly in creating having a life purpose related to spirituality or to communication, different ways of applying it. So if you have that advanced ability and want to take a look at your chart and see where that actually falls, you get a lot deeper layers of meaning. Okay, if you are a Virgo star point, and I can't see all the chats, I see a few things blinking in. So Laureli, feel free to interrupt me if you see some stuff that I should comment on.
Sure, great. So people are asking about what is a chart? How is a chart made? So I've just started to give them some information, and that the big secret is the interpretation. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's, oops, sorry, kind of got off my slides here. So thank you. Yeah, you can actually go to astro.com. There's other websites too, but that's a great one. And you can draw up a free chart. And that's your natal chart. That's different than what we're looking at here. This is more of a manual process of applying what you're seeing on these charts to your chart, to your main chart. But yeah, go to astro.com, put in your birthday and time and place. And, there's some free reports out there that will give you a sense of your sun is in the 6th house and it means this. You can get, that's how I started, just getting the sense of what some of those things were. There's definitely a limit to them though. They can't really do the intuitive work of putting all the pieces together and really making sense of it. But it's a good way to go and get started. And then basically what you would do is then on top of that chart, find this point and you can learn a little bit more about that house and how the energies there might express themselves. So this is kind of a bit of a tour through some possibilities of things you can learn through your chart, and then can always dive deeper. Did I answer that well enough, Laureli? Is there anything else that's...
No, I think that's good. Some other people are helping too. Oh yeah, so some people are having trouble seeing everything on the screen. At the very top, if you click View Options, you can click Fit to Window, and then it will show you everything.
Perfect.
And someone said a second page, I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. So there's 2 pages, I think, here for Virgo star points. So hopefully you've had a chance to look. Let me... Oh no, I guess this is the only page for Virgo star point. A couple of them have 2 pages. I tried to get the general birth dates of people who I thought would be here without overwhelming and going back into the 20s and all of that. So if your star point is not on here, it's probably that it's on another slide coming up. And then if at the end it's not, just email me and I'll tell you what yours is. So go ahead and take a look at the list. If you're a Virgo star point, then your goddess really connects with earthy energy. She can be sprightly, but also grounded and practical, and has this endless capacity to share their resourcefulness and service. So Virgo star points love to create services and products. They can do so effortlessly. They're wonderful at analytical and problem solving situations, and they can really live life in a level-headed, grounded way. There's a strong willingness to take care of other people and the land and animals or anyone in need. They really have to be in service. So if you're a Virgo star point and something's not feeling quite fulfilling, or you're trying to figure out more about your life purpose, leaning into these Virgo energies can really help you find a way forward. So there can be a fear here that they won't completely get the job done perfectly, or they might not know the solution immediately. So getting past that is part of Virgo star points work. They make great HR managers. They might marry their job. Relaxation they have to work a little bit more at. But professions for Virgo star points are great related to health and medicine, mind, body, spirit type work, nutrition, and different ways that they can share their devotion to service and using their really sharp set of skills. Let's see here. And think about this in terms of love too. I'm kind of describing it in general, but these are activities or areas that really can get activated, especially related to Venus and to your love life. And if you do get your chart and you kind of put your star point over the top, different planets that are there, interact and take on different layers of meaning. It's actually really hard to do talks on astrology, because the beauty of astrology is that it's so individualistic that there is no one else, not even your twin, has the exact same chart as you. So it's really important to look at your chart specifically and all the details, and yet to do talks like this, we have to go a little bit more generally. So thanks for bearing with me. So hopefully you've gotten a little sense of your Virgo star point, if that's your thing, and taking time to pause and care for your inner goddess through yoga, meditation, music, things that really kind of calm down that analytical part of your brain are especially important. Okay, Aquarius star point. And don't worry, there's not all 12 signs. It won't take quite that long, because these are generational aspects. And so there's really only a handful that are really, really active in society right now. Aquarius star points can be highly charismatic. They're hard to resist. They can easily gain a following and become a voice to a group. They're excellent at leading others in new directions. They have an ability to influence viewpoints that could even literally change the world. Wonderful role models. And one of their gifts is that they can respond to life in somewhat of a detached way. So they don't take on too many emotions or things that can cloud their judgment. And one thing with that too is they can have a pretty headstrong focus on what it is that they want. And so to work on taking other people's views into account and making sure that they're not closed off to the things of the heart. That's some of the work of the Aquarius star point. They have a mix of creativity, eccentricity, and style. It's great for them to combine forces with the life mate that really helps them kind of open up to the meaning of life and abundance, and maybe throws a few emotions in there that they get to work with and deal with. And really, we find a lot of people who are artists, geniuses, visionaries. They love having created something. And so with all of these, you want to feed your inner goddess. So if you're an Aquarius star point, you really want to feed that creative energy in your life. And if you're not doing that, your relationships and all might not feel quite so fulfilling. So really lean into your Aquarius star point. Might be especially excited by new technologies, things in the news and politics, and they don't necessarily need marriage at all. It's quite an independent star point, but may appreciate it and desire it for various reasons. Okay, and make sure you note too if you are a morning star or an evening star as you go along, and think back to those descriptions of the goddess and how that activates in your love life. Okay, Scorpio star points. These are can be fierce folks. Scorpio is a sign that dives deep into the underworld, so they can stir up a lot of powerful emotions, and they're motivated by transformation and change. They're excited by the mysterious and the dangerous. And they're not afraid at all of penetrating life's mysteries. They'll talk about the things that no one else wants to talk about. And if you're a Scorpio sun sign, you may be nodding your head along too, because you have an element of this in your world. One of their greatest assets is being able to really empathize with others, grasp the real deep mysteries of life. And they have to beware of protection around their heart and different layers that they might put up, having been such warriors and experienced so much. They may desire relationships for the power that they bring, so they have to be especially careful to not possess another, and be ready to let go. Scorpio, and this is Scorpio in all of its forms, struggles to let go and allow the object of their love to be free and come back to them. So they make the most of life's storms. They have a really powerful instinct, and they're masterfully skilled at using their resources and others. They're alluring, sexy, flirtatious. It's very easy for Scorpio star point to attract whatever it is that they need. This is really a warrior type goddess. So even if you're an evening star Scorpio star point, even though you might have that refinement of the celestial goddess, she'll have a little bit of a feistier flavor being here in Scorpio. And some interests in terms of kind of life path, life purpose, healing, esoteric teaching, psychology. These are all things that really call well to the Scorpio star point. And in terms of self-care, they often feel better when they're fasting or cleansing or transforming their body and mind in some way. Also beware if you are female identified, because there's such ferocity available to one with a Scorpio star point, that others can sometimes be intimidated by that energy. So just to be aware of that and what you bring to your relationships, and this could just give you some framework for understanding it or talking about it with your partner.
Hey, Cara, I want to check in with you about time. So
okay,
you've passed the end of your time a little bit, and I'm not sure how much you have left. I'm wondering if we might need to split you into part 1 and part 2, like let Jem go, and then you can do part 2.
That would be great. I'm so sorry, Laureli. I didn't know it had gone that long already.
It's okay. Well, do you want to say some things to kind of complete, just in case some of the people don't stay to the whole thing? And then, yeah, it's great for you to do part 2 after her, and then I'll go at the end.
Sure. Let me just do a real quick thing in case anybody has to leave. So in the end, what really happens here, I think I can draw on the screen. Hang on a second. Thanks for bearing with me. Okay, yeah, I think you can see my little squiggle here. So really what we're talking about right now is this part of our chart. And if anyone's interested and you have to leave early and you want to learn a little bit more, feel free to message me with your email and I can send you this. But basically, you find out several different points along your star, and it brings even deeper meaning into how you give and receive in relationships. So just to kind of put it together of how you can actually use it later, you can have a better understanding of your purpose and also the people that you need to bring into your world to help you with that purpose and the ways you naturally give out from that purpose. So that's the part that's missing here, and a little hard to get into in a full group anyway. Thanks, Laureli.
All right, great. Thanks so much. This is lovely. Wow. All right, well, we've got, well, let's see. So yeah, so everyone listening, so Cara's going to be finishing up in a bit, and we're going to transition now to Dr. YinJoy with Decoding Microbes for Seekers, Healers, and Mystics.
Thank you, Laureli. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome.
We can see your screen too.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Welcome, everyone. And thank you, Cara. It was fascinating. I was getting absorbed too, but she'll be back. And I'm Dr. Jem. I'm going to talk about decoding microbes for seekers, healers, and mystics. I wanted to let you know that I'll be answering questions at the end. So let me show myself first. I'm a PhD microbiologist who used microbes to clean up toxic waste from rivers. While I was doing this wonderful work, I also connected with Native American elders and learned about animal spirit guides. So I'm going to be going back and forth with my screen because I have some lovely visuals to show you while I speak. So I've combined my scientific knowledge of microbiology, that's me in the lab, with my connection with animal spirit guides. And what I did was I've created a way to communicate with animal spirit guides that are living all around us. They're in a layer of reality, though, that I call, and that is referred to as the microscopic world. Okay, so a little more about showing you those later, but first I wanted to answer what animal spirit guides are. So in the past, our ancestors relied on signals from nature, as you all know, to guide their choices in life. They used the stars to navigate. We still do that. We learn about them ourselves. They learned about themselves. They had dialogues with the plants and the trees. And they observed the animals around them, learning from them and being guided by how these animals survived, using their unique body types and abilities to eat, ward off predators, and survive through the changes in the season. The animal spirit guides that I want to talk to you about today are called microbes, and I want to tell you what I mean when I say microbes. Basically, microbes are living creatures that are too small for humans to see without the use of a microscope. But like larger animals, these microbes have unique body types, they have unique abilities to eat, and ways to ward off predators and ingenious survival skills under the harshest conditions. Like the larger animals that taught our ancestors back then and are still teaching us now, these microbes have powerful lessons to teach us too. Our ancestors didn't have microscopes, of course, but they still sensed the presence of elementals, fairies, and nature spirits. So they were aware that tiny somethings were making their spiritual presence known in the forces of nature. And they knew that these tiny things were responsible for keeping their gardens fresh and their water pure. Since microbes are not visible to these ancients, a closer relationship with these microbes has been closed off to mystics, seekers, and healers until now. As an intuitive microbiologist, I can open the portals of communication to these microbes so you can develop relationships with them. And by doing this, you can receive messages, receive wise guidance, and some answers to questions that might be on your mind. When I say microbes, most people think of disease. And of course, there is one microbe that we're all thinking about today, the virus that causes COVID-19. However, there are trillions of microbes busy on our planet and in our bodies, keeping us clean, warding off disease, eating toxic waste, and recycling gases in our atmosphere to help grow the plants that keep us nourished. Trillions and trillions of microbes belonging to thousands of genera thrive with us on this planet. Because of microbes, important atmospheric gases are cycled from the air to the soil and plants and animals and back into the air again. So thousands of microbe types keep Mother Earth's body clean and her circulatory system pure. And all of these trillions of microbes have superpowers. These superpowers can help us live better lives in harmony with nature and with our bodies. Just because they're too small to see doesn't mean we can't taste, feel, smell, and touch their transformative presence in our lives. You know, when it rains and you can grab some mud from the ground and smell it, that after rain fragrance is created by a microbe. When we had the BP oil spill, never before seen spiral-shaped microbes swirled up from the deep to drink as much oil as they could, rescuing us from the effects of that environmental disaster. Microbes that make methane gas gave rise to hundreds of fantastic fables about will-o'-the-wisps dancing over the marshes where these methane microbes make their homes. There are microbes shaped like stars, microbes that came on meteorites to Earth, microbes that make bread rise. You all know who they are. They're the yeast. And there are microbes that ferment our food, yeast and bacteria. They keep our guts balanced and our skin clean. So microbes terraform the earth and us every day to create a healthy mind, a healthy body, and a healthy spirit for both us and the planet. So let me show you something again. Doing divination with the Microbe Whisperer Oracle cards is basically an extension of how I did divination with the Jamie Sams David Carson Animal Guide cards. These are my Oracle cards here. And these are the Jamie Sams David Carson Animal Medicine Guide cards, which I'm sure you've all seen. Well, we can certainly relate to lessons from animals that we can see with our own eyes. That's what these cards cover. We get that how they use their wings or eyes or talons to live in their worlds. But to understand the microbes and the lessons that these spiritual guides have for us, we must first leave our human-sized existence and enter their microscopic world. So I want to invite you to do a short imaginative exercise with me. So imagine your tongue is tasting the fresh morning dew or the salty air as you stroll down a beautiful beach. Now imagine your entire body is as sensitive to taste as your tongue, and now you're thrown into a pure, fresh body of water. You can taste the environment engulfing you with your entire body. And if you're as small as a microbe, you'll be billowing about in the currents of water. This is when you'd whip out your flagella, which are like little tails. You whip these tails back and forth to propel yourself through the water. Your main goals will be to search for food, get nice and plump, and bud off a new clone of yourself as a sister cell. Your other goal is to keep predators away. You do this by making antibiotics to kill other bacteria. You also communicate with your sister cells about changes in your shared environment by using special types of pheromones. You exist as one in that watery environment, using your body to select what comes in and what goes out. Okay, we're going to come back to human size again. Thank you for doing that little exercise with me. What I showed you was just one example of the many varieties of microbes that exist in many different shapes and have many different ways of surviving. With the Microbe Whisperer cards, I can help you understand how to harness the wisdom of specific microbe guides that appear in your reading. The microbe guide that shows up in your cards can grant you insights on how they eliminate toxins and remove disease. There are skills that these skills can translate into your own lives to survive toxins. Whether your toxin be physical, emotional, or spiritual, they can provide guidance on how you can flourish in your own worlds. So basically, I can teach you how to become a microbe whisperer too. I created 44 paintings of microbes that are good for the environment. Since I know them so intimately with my readings, I can tune into thousands of other microbe types using these 44 representatives from the world of microbes. My relationship with these microbe guides can help answer questions of the heart, the body, the mind, and help you to conduct your creative flow. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen with all of you. The suits for the 44 Microbe Whisperer cards correspond with the suits you know from the Tarot deck. But for the symbols I use in my suits, these are the tools that microbiologists use in their lab to whisper to these microbe guides. So I'm going to take you through the 11 cards in my 44 card suit, just to show you what I mean about the suits and how they correspond to Tarot deck. So I have the first suit here. This is the inoculating loop suit. Well, what's an inoculating loop? It's just a rod with a wire, it's a metal rod with a wire that you heat up with a Bunsen burner to flame it. Looks like a wand. So this loop suit corresponds to the wand suit in Tarot. Then the next suit is the microfuge suit. Now we have little test tubes that we use to concentrate solutions of bacteria. And since it contains solution, this is called a tubes suit that corresponds to the cups in Tarot. And then I have the Petri dish suit. Well, that corresponds to pentacles in Tarot. Why? Because Petri dishes are used to hold agar and contain nutrients for bacteria to grow. So they're a source of abundance for the bacteria. Now we have the fourth suit, which is the Pasteur pipette suit. Well, what's a Pasteur pipette? The Pasteur pipette is a long tapered glass rod with a little bulb at the end, and we use that to transfer small liquids. And so this corresponds to the swords suit in Tarot. What I want to do now is take you to a little tour of 4 representatives of the 4 suits that I just mentioned. This first one I'm showing you is a star bacteria. So star bacteria are shaped like 6-pointed stars. This is the shape that's used by many spiritual faiths in the history of our world. This also includes a symbol we use in paganism, with the symbol of feminine divine power being a triangle pointing down, and the symbol for the masculine divine being the triangle pointing up to form the 6-pointed star. How would this microbe that evolved millions of years ago know that this would be a symbol used in human spirituality? Well, it's a very cool mystery, and it's one of the lessons that's taught by this microbe animal guide. And the lesson is that the natural world contains wisdom for humanity, wisdom acquired in mysterious ways. So because I have both the genus and species as well as a regular name for these bacteria, I encourage my querients, people that come to get readings, to use a nickname. So for now, I'm going to use the nickname Stella to keep talking about this star bacterium. So in the environment, Stella lives on tiny amounts of food, which is why they have these appendages that protrude from their bodies, making them star-shaped. Because they're so good at cleaning up minuscule amounts of organic waste, these star bacteria are considered to be a good indicator of a healthy coral reef environment. Stella doesn't have a tail, so it can't move around the way I showed you those earlier, those bacteria were moving around with their flagella. How does it move? Well, it uses internal pockets of gas like balloons. So they use these gas pockets, fill them with air to make them buoyant, so they can move up and down the water column to look for food. Well, if I were doing a reading with you and we got this card, one of the lessons that it would teach you is to become the symbol of spirituality worldwide, be the star of a clean environment, know how to thrive on very little, and find inventive ways to float to the top. There are more spiritual lessons that the star bacterium teaches, and those are available in my guidebook that comes with the cards. But now I want to move on to another representative in my suit, and this one is going to be the oil-eating bacterium that I mentioned before. This oil-eating bacterium, its scientific name is long. It's Oceanospirillum, but you kind of get it because ocean came from the ocean, and spirillum, it's spiral shape. These are the ones that we discovered lived at the bottom of the ocean depths. They came spiraling up when we had that BP oil spill in April 2010. When we had that oil spill, that sudden burst of all this available food that these microbes like to eat, they smelled the plume and came spiraling up to eat all that oil spilled in the Gulf of Mexico. So we discovered this genus, Oceanospirillum. It loves to eat petroleum oil. And so they're like heroic first responders. They spiraled up from the deep to devour that oil that was killing so much marine life. What are the lessons of Oceanospirillum? Well, they teach that someone else's poison is just lunch for you. They teach the lessons of being the heroic rescuer. And they also teach that you should dive very deep in your subconscious to deal with emotional toxins. So I'm going to move on to the representative for my Petri dish suit. Whoops, let's go back a little. There we go. So this one is called, this is a scented brain bacteria. And these microbes are responsible for that wonderful just after it rained fragrance that you can smell in the soil after it rains. They create mycelia like fungi do. They're 10 times smaller than fungi. They make these beautiful mycelial mats that look like rich plush carpets, and they're colorful. They use these mats to feed on organic compounds on the surfaces that they spread out on. They can also degrade chitin, which is a material that composes the exoskeletons of insects. So they're responsible for helping us not drown in many, many dead insect bodies over time. Most bacteria can't eat the chitin, so they're helpful that way. And they also use their feeding powers to eat toxic waste. Plus, they make antibiotics. So what are the lessons of this centibrain bacterium, also called Streptomyces? Well, they signal to you the cleansing joy of rain. They suggest that you elongate and branch out to grow. They tell you to spread out to take full advantage of your habitat. And they help you become distinctive in fragrance and replication, or find that in anything in your environment that you want to learn about a little better. So the fourth representative of my 4-soup oracle deck are the methane producing bacteria. These microbes die in the presence of oxygen. So they have to find places that don't have oxygen, like the termite gut, special compartments in cows, and swamps. They make methane gas out of carbon dioxide and hydrogen, so they hold the promise of an alternate fuel source using methane gas. In the old days, when folks passed a swamp in the night, they'd see eerie flashes of blue light over the water. And this gave rise to many legends about will-o'-the-wisps, which were thought to be cursed or playful spirits. All microbes change our planet biochemically, and some do cause disease, unfortunately. But it is amazing that such a tiny creature, and one that doesn't cause disease, can influence our human history by giving rise to the tales our human imaginations have conjured, which are inspired by these tiny muses. Okay, well, what would the lessons of methanogens be? Well, one of them is that your life is a gas with a blast. One puff of a secret creates a million stories. Remember that all waste has a purpose, and make sure that your abode or home is airtight. So I have 40 other microbes that are in my oracle card deck, and as a microbe whisperer, I can interpret the guidance that they have for your specific questions. Besides the microbe animal guide cards, I've also created unique layouts for divination. You can choose the layout that you want depending on the question. The layouts represent the traditional alchemical elements. So, for example, for Earth, we have the geocycle layout, which is a triangle pointing down. And then for water, I have the hydrocycle layout, which is shaped like a waterfall. And I have a fire cycle layout shaped like a flame. And I have an air cycle layout, which is shaped like a rainbow. So for example, if you have questions that are affecting your heart or emotions, you choose the water cycle. Something that affects your body or your environment, you want to choose the geocycle layout. Something that is preoccupying your mind, or a question regarding the use of your analytical side, the air cycle layout. And the fire cycle layout is for those things that represent fire, like passion and creativity. I'm going to now take you to a page that shows you how to get in touch with me. Besides offering the book and the cards, I have some other products that I offer, and you can read about them on my website. These are the readings. There's a Who's Your Microbe for 10 minutes for $10, a 3-card reading for past, present, future, or 1 card for each issue. I also give full readings using the layouts that I just described. I think Laureli's putting that information in the chat, but you can also look at it here. You can go to my website to sign up and purchase the readings. You can also go here for the guidebook and card purchase. Now, what I'm also going to do is take you, I hope I can do this. Let's see, I have to stop sharing first, I think. And then I'm going to reshare, because what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about the website. Let's see, can you see that?
Yeah, it's up now.
Okay, so this is my website. And so to purchase the divination service, you're going to click that button. But before I take you there, I was going to tell you the other service I offer is shamanic journeying. I can talk to you more privately about what a shamanic journey is in case you don't know, but I do offer shamanic journeys to help a loved one pass over, and also shamanic journey to help you meet power animals and spirit guides, or meet someone's heart spirit in the middle world. I have facilitated shamanic journeying with drumming before. I'm happy to share that now. And I also am a registered patent agent, so I do offer patent consultations if you're creating a new type of PPE, for example, to protect from the COVID-19 virus or treatment. I do offer affordable patent consults. I create rituals for environmental healing. Those are custom made. And I also offer consultation on bioremediation, water quality, enrichment cultures, and composting. And I do offer lectures on microbe whispering for the classroom or workplace. And I do what those lectures can either be educational or about divination or both. So if you click this button, the other thing I wanted to show you, I hope it comes up. Oh, there we go. Okay, this is my shop. And so you can select your options for divination here. So here are the options I was talking about. And I also wanted to point out that right now, Microbe Whisperer is donating 2% of any purchase from this website to fund COVID-19 vaccine development or the purchase of protective equipment for medical healthcare providers. So that is what I had to offer and say. I look forward to hearing your questions either here or at the breakout room. So I'm going to stop sharing. Hi. Hello.
Great. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, and you've got a few more minutes too, if you want to stay here for, you've got about 6 more minutes.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm happy to answer any questions that people might have.
And feel free, you can ask any general questions about spirit animals or any of those kinds of things. And you're getting some thank you and appreciation in the chat.
Yeah, no, thank you for following that. I know that it's a new way of looking at animal spirit guides, so I really appreciate all the attention you gave me for presenting this.
Oh yeah, you're very welcome. It was fascinating to see how you created the cards and the patterns of all the different things. I didn't realize all that was in there.
Well, there are also haikus and blessings. I was going to say, when somebody comes for a reading, I have the different chimes for the different elements. So I play, for example, the earth element when I do the earth blessing, and I play the water element chime when I do the water blessing. And that's a good way to prepare. I know I had a video to have everyone do that exercise to go into the microbe world. And it's important to be able to get into that mindset, that microscopic world mindset, to talk to these animal guides.
Let's see, so you've got some questions, and people are appreciating your concept, very cool concept. So how did you find your way to a particular type of divination? I'm not quite sure exactly what they're saying, but.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I think I know. So when I was doing my work at Cornell, cleaning up toxic waste from the Hudson River, it's a very difficult environment to be in when you're an intuitive like I am, and when you're an indigenous woman like I am. So I sought out some spiritual support and found spiritual support with some wonderful groups of people who were bringing shamanic Lakota elders to their land. And at that point, I was already dreaming animal guides. I was dreaming some unusual animal guides, like Archaeopteryx from, you know, the ancient past. They're extinct. So I did have questions. I mean, here I was doing all this science in a very westernized, patriarchal way, and yet I was getting call, like I call it the call of the spirit, to look at this more deeply. So I started working with the elders, and then later on I was doing animal guide readings at a friend's shop in Portland, Oregon. I did that for a long time using the Jamie Sams, David Carson animal guides. And then at some point about 7 years ago, I just said to myself, wow, nobody ever, I mean, people want to work with elementals and they want to work with nature spirits, but I know who they are. So when I was at rituals, mostly pagan rituals, that, you know, we were doing blessings for the land and water, and people would mention nature spirits and elementals, and I was going, well, yeah, Pseudomonas, Streptomyces, Corynebacterium. We need to know who they are. And it didn't occur to me until like 7 years ago that I could actually paint them. I didn't think I was an artist, but I turned out to be. So I started to paint them and realized, wow, these could be like a wonderful portal and way to communicate with microbes the way I did. I actually used to sing to my microbes at midnight when no one else was there, because nobody would understand, you know, to raise the energy of the earth and empower them to clean up the PCDs from the Hudson River like I wanted them to. Does that answer the question? I don't think I heard.
You do, and more comments coming in. Yes, singing to microbes.
Singing to microbes, yes. It's in my guidebook. I have a section in my guidebook. So I sell this 198-page guidebook on a CD. Oh, I forgot to mention, it's cheaper on Kindle. If you have a Kindle book, can I show that real quick, Laureli?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna go back here because I forgot about that. If you do have Kindle, you can actually buy the guidebook through Amazon. Let's see if it shows up here. So yeah, so that's my guidebook on a CD, and I even have it here. You can go to, sorry, I didn't hyperlink it, but you can go to Amazon Kindle and get the book for $11.99, so it's a little cheaper than how I offer it on the CD. I'm trying to find the link here. I don't quite see it. Oh, I'll find it. Anyway, I'm happy to field other questions while I'm doing this, if I still have time.
You do, and let's see, what can you advise us do or avoid or protect ourselves from COVID?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. So, of course, being a microbe whisperer, I immediately went to my card deck and I spoke to the microbes. Now I'm actually navigating over to my, so I did 2 readings on the animal, on using my animal guide cards. And they're posted here. There isn't enough time for me to go into it, but I posted 2 blog posts. I think one was in February, one was in March, but there are 2. I'm trying to get to the page that shows them all. I definitely asked my microbes, hey, what do we do? Oh, here we go. Can you see that, Laureli? Can everybody see that? So I did
Yes, we can.
I did a microbe animal guide reading on COVID-19 right away when we had, unfortunately, we had our first death in the US that was reported was in Washington State, where we live. So I needed to get on that. That felt definitely like a call from the spirit. So I did an animal guide reading here, and then I did a part 2, and I also created a coronavirus planetary purge, which is in the second posting, and that was inspired by the microbe guides that work in the soil. So definitely they're in the nitrogen cycle, so definitely go to that. The videos at the end, I believe, yes. Meditation to cleanse the lungs of our planet. You know, obviously, in terms of medical information, I can't give that here, but I, definitely would direct you to the appropriate people who can advise you on that. But I'm talking about, besides working with the medical health experts on helping protect yourself, you also can work with the spirits of the animals, just like our ancestors did, working with the spirits of the plants and the nature spirits and elementals. We can work with the microbes. They're here to protect us. They've been here a lot longer than we have on this planet, and they definitely know how to teach us how to purge and cleanse ourselves, whether it's our body or our planet. So definitely read those blog posts, and please ask me any questions you have once you read them, or even before. Happy to answer. I'm going to stop sharing now. I never got to go to the Kindle website, but you can check it out later. All right.
Yeah, that's great. And anyone else can reach out to Dr. Gem with more questions or to get that link afterwards. And she may be staying on and put the link in the chat later, not sure. And yeah, and I'll put everyone's contact info again at the end too. And if you do need to leave, please, if you could share your feedback, that would be helpful. Then we'll have your email address, and we can reach out to you also to see if you have any more questions or want to learn more about what we're doing. And then also, I'm saying we're all offering our work at a discount today too. So please take advantage of that opportunity.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, I'm offering I think I forgot how much of a discount I said I was offering, Laureli.
It says right here, so it's a special 5% off. It looks like 30 for a 60-minute reading.
Right.
Code.
I'm offering 5% off for the 30 or 60-minute readings. If you have the code, was it MeWe? Let me know.
Yes, it's MeWe, so MAYMEWE.
Right. So I don't think my store is set up to take the code, but you can definitely email me. I just posted my email address there. And there's also a contact me page, and you can let me know it's MeWe, and I'll give you that 5% discount.
That's great. Oh, and also,
you go.
No, I was just saying people can save the chat too. So in the chat, you can click the three dots and click save to get all our contact info. Go ahead, Dr. Gem. What did you want to say?
I was going to say that because of the pandemic, I can't give in-person readings right now until our governor clears it. But I can definitely do a video chat. I have all kinds of video chat platforms, and I'm happy to do that. So, and then when we can do in person again, I'm happy to do that as well, as long as you're in driving range.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Gem YinJoy. All right.
Very much, Laureli, for this forum.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right, everyone. I'm going to clear the floor for everyone else.
Great. Thank you. So we're getting ready to go back to part 2 of our second talk with Cara James. So this is a bit more of Love is in the Stars.
Well, thanks, Laureli. Are you sure you're good with me going long?
Yeah, I'm good with this. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Thanks, everybody. Let me get my screen shared here again. And let me get to the right spot. I always think I can't fill the time, and then look at me. All right.
That's great.
So a couple questions just to clear up. Someone said, looks like I don't have a point. And I forgot to say at the beginning that these are not in chronological order. You can see like even this one on the screen, which I'm going to get. Whoops. Hang on. Something got a little off here. 1 second here. They're not in chronological order. They're based on star points. So every year or two, they shift.
Sorry, if I could just jump in one moment, I forgot. So Dr. Gem is available to answer questions. If anyone has specific questions or wants to see the cards or any of that, let us know in the chat, and I can put you in a break room with Dr. Gem. So just please, anyone that wants to do that, let me know. And Dr. Jem is happy to chat with you another time too.
Okay. And the way my screen is, Laureli, if there's a big question, let me know, because it's just too small. I can't see the chat.
I'll do that. Go ahead. You're fine.
Okay, cool. So, so a couple questions that came up were, oh, I don't have a star point. It's just because we haven't gotten to yours yet. That just means you're not one of the ones we've seen already. And feel free to note any friends and family so that as you're listening in, you can get to understand some of the other people in your world. The other question I saw was, what's a degree? And this is, like I said, astrology can be kind of complicated. But in your natal chart, in your birth chart, that you can get at astro.com. Every zodiac sign is made up of 30 degrees. So it basically is just the coordinates for you to be able to find this particular point in your chart. Doesn't really matter for right now. And if you're not that into astrology, don't worry about it at all. Just kind of enjoy what's presented here. If you do want to dig in more deeply, just noting the degree, then you can find it later on your chart, or come chat with me and I'll tell you more. So, for the sake of time, I'm just going to rattle through the next two star points that are really, that there are more people probably of the age group that fall into those. And then the next two, I'm just going to have you email me. If you fall in one of those, I'll show you the dates. And then I'll kind of show you how some of the stuff goes together, and we'll wrap it up. So this one does have 2 pages. So hopefully you can see the screen. If you were born after 89, you might fall on the second screen. And an Aries star point, again, this relates to life purpose and how we are in relationship. Aries star point goes through life with the eyes of a child. They're constantly discovering new worlds. They're looking to reinvent themselves and kind of push down on the accelerator. So they can accomplish a lot in a pretty short period of time. They are reinvigorated by pioneering new paths. They want to forge a new trail. They're really focused on that hero's journey, that quest, and they bring a lot of headstrongness, if that's the word, intelligence with them, but they can also be somewhat impatient because they just want to get going. Some of the assets of the Aries star point are that they are self-made, they're quite confident, and they can be self-directed. They rise up to leadership and act very quickly, and can quickly recover from wounds as well. But some of the liabilities there are that impulsive nature can sometimes move a little bit too fast, and they might not give others a chance to prove themselves enough. They need to take a little bit more time to pause. Let's see. And slowing down to allow more grace and pleasure into their life is important if you're an Aries star point. They have a profound belief in themselves, and they can also translate that into others, helping them have confidence in themselves. Often at a young age, they have to be put in the driver's seat, so they learn to trust their intuition. They have endless optimism and possibilities before them, and they don't really need instructions for how to drive. They're just ready to go. They really can see their lives as a grand adventure story, and they're on a mission to build a distinctive identity. Now, where this Aries star point falls in your chart will give you more layers of how this energy gets activated. But they can sometimes be defiant. This is another strong yang energy, and can be a little intimidating to some, but they really care a lot about self-renewal and beginning new chapters. So you can also think about these star points as people that you might want to have on your team, different energies to have represented in a group. So hopefully, I'm going to go back to the last one. Hopefully you saw your star point. And these are just, again, MS, morning star, ES, evening star, so that you can apply some of the other goddess talk we did earlier, and then the date ranges. So, and if I'm going too fast, you can't find it, just email me. I'll tell you what yours is, no problem. The last one I'll really go into depth on here is the Gemini star point. And these folks are multi-talented. They need numerous outlets to integrate and express all of the things that they learn. They love to share stories, very curious, have a quick mind, and they can sometimes partner with people that remind them of a sibling. Again, Gemini is the sign of the twins. One of their assets is that they are never bored and never boring. They can act quickly. They enjoy competition and find a lot of success in games and sports. And they have a capacity for great conversation, can speak on just about any topic. And we'll sometimes find a partner that's a bit of a straight man or straight person to their comedic style. One of their liabilities is not moving in a straightforward direction. Gemini energy can scatter and disperse itself all over the place. They also have a lot of mental chatter, so it's important if you are a Gemini star point or Gemini sun, if you have strong Gemini energy in your chart, to tune down that mental chatter and tap into that intuitive place of the heart. They can approach life with wit, charm, and playfulness, laugh easily, and enjoy using their voice in many different ways. And they're always cooking up a different reality. In terms of life purpose and fulfilling work for Gemini star point, we find messengers, travelers, writers, teachers, broadcasters, and coaches. And they have that real free spirit and love of play. They're motivated to partner with others. There's a high focus on friendship. And they can be a little bit chameleon-like. They can shift into different roles as necessary, and just love learning. So again, these are the birth dates: morning star, evening star, degree, if you want to note it for if you look at your chart later and get a little bit deeper understanding of how that Gemini Venus really gets expressed in your life. So these just note for the future, and I will message you about this if you happen to be one. It's a later window, because again, these are generational, so there might not be as many folks on the call that are of this star point. But go ahead and note, we've got the year 86, 90, 94, 98, 2002, 2006, or you might notice for a child in your life. And then the last one that's really people of our generation are Leo star points. And you can see here it starts in 1987 up until 2008. So just take a note. And sorry, I'm not trying to dismiss your amazingness, especially you, Leo star point. We know you're the king. But I will just share with you more one-on-one just for the sake of time. And Laureli's always already being quite generous to me.
Oh, and take your time. You can, take a few more minutes. Don't worry.
Oh, well, I know what more I'm going to say, and I think I'll be taking plenty.
That's great.
I don't want to push my luck here, Lorelei. So again, this is kind of a tour of a pretty sophisticated tool. We're just getting a sense of it right now. Getting an idea that Venus is this living goddess who expresses herself in us, in our lives, in many ways: warrior, lover, and then we see all of her different flavors through the star points we were just taking a look at. But the system that I'm showing you, again, you're just getting a fraction of it. It goes a little bit further. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to try to draw on this again so you can see my red. We've been talking about the top part of your star. And again, these little points here are where the sun and Venus kissed at different times in an 8-year cycle around the time you were born. And so this is more complicated for today, but you can also calculate and figure out the different signs and degrees that these other parts of your chart or star contain, and apply it to your chart and get a lot of interesting information. So I'm just going to give you an example of what you can learn from it. It's too complicated to really do all together, but just so you can get a sense of how this could work in your life. And you're looking at my Venus star chart right here. I'm an Aries star, so that impatient one that's ready to get going, that's me. And when I apply this over the top of my natal chart, I can see that my Aries star point lines up in a place of spirituality, a place of consciousness. So I start to see, okay, my power that I bring with my Venus star point in Aries is going to express itself around the areas of spirituality, consciousness, karma, right? What do I do for work? I'm an astrologer. So it really fits beautifully with the type of work that I do. So if you're not quite sure what work it is that you're here to do in the world, or whatever, this can give you an extra layer, especially when you apply it to a certain part of your chart. It lines up with Vision Quest information I've received and several other things. And it's like, oh, here it was in the Venus star chart. So basically this part right here, the one that we've just been going over, is the conjunction that happened just before you were born. That's where we saw the dates. And there were 2 times that the Sun and Venus met up before you were born. And this side of your chart, if you get a full Venus, oh, hang on, I said it wrong.
If I could just ask you a question too. Someone asked, what
Sure.
degree orb is it? And I don't know where that applies.
Oh, mine in particular? So you would put it based on what this, so this will get a little bit complicated because astrology is that way, but basically each sign is made up of 30 degrees. So you would look for the little hash marks and find, if you were a Pisces, 25 degrees, you would find that, and that would be the head of your star. And so yours might be oriented a little different way. I just put it right side up to make it less complicated. Does that make sense? It's okay, roll with it. If it's complicated, just get the general concept and we can dig deeper if you like. I may do some, if there's enough interest, do some deeper workshops on it because it could take several hours to do a full thing. But basically, the information that this chart can share with you on this side, when you get your full I before E, no, I'm trying to write receive. How you receive in love, and this side over here represents the different ways that you give. So you can kind of see, you get some energy of this, the main part that we talked about already. And then when you dig deeper into this chart and you find your other points, you can learn the different ways that things that you need that will support you in your life's work and your purpose and support you in relationship and the way that you naturally give in relationship. So I'll just give you a quick example just so you can understand how to apply it. So we know Cara's got her star point in Aries. She's a bit of a spiritual warrior. She's here to put out information on these topics. One of the ways I give is through Aquarian information. Aquarius rules astrology. I give out spiritual information related to astrology. Scorpio, this is another way that I give out. I work with mysteries, and if you look at where this falls in my chart, I do a lot of work with business owners that are spirit-led, and this falls in a work part of my chart. I've also supported a lot of Scorpios in my life. You can apply this to relationship and see, oh, okay, I've had a lot of people like that in my world who I've supported specifically in work. So again, you get more layers when you really apply it to your chart. Then we go to the other side, we go, okay, different ways that one receives. Virgo energy, I attract relationships where people do chores for me. Believe it or not, men who are like, oh sure, I'll do the dishes and I'll do all of this stuff. This is one of the ways it feeds my Venus, is I just naturally, as you work with it, you can learn the different ways that you naturally give and ways you naturally attract. So just a quick little tour of the different ways you can really get in depth if you want to get to know your Venuses and all the different ways they activate in your life. Do we have some comments, Laureli?
Yeah, someone said, I'd love to learn more if you decide to do more workshops. So that was from Moon.
Okay, perfect. Okay, wonderful.
And by the way, everyone, this recording will get posted on our MeWe Facebook page, so you'll be able to go back and watch.
So quick little tour of the ways you can work with it, but it's powerful stuff. I mean, this is the system that I really just learned and applied over my other astrological knowledge. And I compared my Venus star chart to all of my major relationships, and I can see the ways that they really fed me and supported my greater purpose, and ones that were really draining, where my giving side of my star was giving out too much and wasn't getting enough back in return. And there's just layers upon layers of depth and meaning if you want to learn more and work with it. Of course, there's that book I mentioned before, Venus Star Rising, and then I also do individual and couple sessions if you want to get to know more about your Venuses, and especially this period of time with her going retrograde. And so just to know about relationships, there are different pairings of stars. So 3 of the top relationship pairings are here. Karmic star. This is where one is really feeding another relationship. And well, it's a little too complicated to really get into, but these are really strong bonds that people have in relationship. These are actually the most common type of pairings that we see. And basically one person's star point is really feeding another one, and so they really can thrive and grow with one another. A twin star is where you're both a Scorpio star point or whatever it might be. You have a lot of similar energies, and so if you have, especially if you have a powerful mission in the world, you can bolster one another up and really get things going. And then there's also a relationship called a creative star, and this is another type of relationship where one helps the other. There's a lot more space and freedom in this relationship. There's less of the karmic stuff that keeps people tied to one another, and so there's a lot more fluidity and space. So if you want to learn more about what kind of relationship you're in, of course, I'm happy to chat with you. And while I'm talking, if you were curious if you had a karmic star pairing or a creative star pairing, you can kind of take a peek over this list and then dig deeper a little bit later. So different ways of working with Venus. You're not limited to the Venus in your birth chart. You can dig into to all of these. And really what we want with Venus in our lives, we really want to feed her. We want to nourish her and nurture her, worship her, give her the love and attention that she needs. So make sure that you're filling up your cup and hopefully learning a little bit more about your primary star point will inspire you to take care of yourself extra in this pretty wild and crazy year. And just a few ways to connect with me. I do a newsletter. You can sign up on my website, or you can just message me and I'll pop you on there. I'm also doing a $30 off session discount. I do 60, 90, and 120 minutes, both individuals and couples. There's the little code there. And I'm also on social media. I'm not posting all of that often, but if you want to connect on there, that would be fun too. So hopefully this was a helpful tour through getting to work with Venus. And then for those who want to do a deep dive, I'd love to do that with you.
It's great. And you had several other people mention they're interested in workshops.
All right, wonderful. Make sure if you send me your contact information or sign up for my email newsletter, and I'll make sure I'll let you know.
Oh, people are asking for some of the basics of your chart.
Oh, let's see. Let me get over to the thing. Oh,
not
what's
the
my
start point as much. I think the basics is what they're asking, like sun and moon and rising and all that.
Okay, let me stop sharing my screen so I can see the comments better, Laureli. Okay. I would like to chat more about your. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Take your. You said I can save the chat, Laureli, so I can message people.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I'll save it also. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yes, we're happy to talk about Cancer star sign, which we didn't have as much time for. What degree orb is it? Sorry, it's a little hard to follow the whole chain there.
Yeah,
but,
I know. And at the bottom, someone was asking about your sign. That's a sun sign. Yeah.
My sun sign is I'm a Cancer. I'm a Cancer sun. I'm an Aquarius moon, and I'm a Gemini rising. Never let Gemini risings talk, Laureli. We'll just keep going on and on. And then my Venus star point is Aries.
Yeah, and if anyone has any other questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. If you want to go to a breakout room, I can put you in a breakout room now too. Or you can all message each other afterwards. But yeah, if you're interested, definitely put your information in the chat. You can write a private message to Cara. Also, that one you'd have to save. I can't get those chats if people are sending you messages. And,
okay. Thank you.
Someone asked, does everyone have the same star point chart? And someone else is commenting that they're all individualized. And yeah.
Yes, that's correct. They're all very individualized. But if you have a birthday near a friend, you might have the same star point.
Great.
But it might express itself differently based on where it falls.
Yeah, and I know some of you might be needing to leave. This is about the time that we were planning on ending. I'm going to put a link in the chat. Oh, someone wants to go to a private room. Okay, so we're going to do a breakout room. So let me take notes on who this is. And I'm trying to say is that, so if you can leave some feedback for us before you leave, that would be great. And you'll be entered into a drawing for a free 30-minute session. Okay, so I'm going to be putting Cara in a breakout room. If anyone wants to go, please, if you could message in the chat right now, or if you need to, just unmute and let me know your name in the system, and I'll get you in a breakout room. I think I can only put people in once, so whoever wants to go.
My name's Anu. I want to go into with Cara.
Sorry, yeah, I've got you. That's great. All right, does anyone else want to go in? All right, well, we are going to experiment here with the breakout room and see how this goes. All right, so I'm going to create one room.
Also, Jen
Nope.
Ramon.
Great,
or
Jen, thank you. Yeah, anyone else for a breakout room? And I'll be giving a talk while that's going on too, so you'll come back into the main room and see me. All right. All right, Jenna. Anyone else want to talk to Cara right now? Just waiting for another moment while we're getting that all sorted. Cool. All right, I'm going to start creating it. And I think you can stay in for as long as you want, and then you'll all just come back whenever you want. All right, great. Enjoy your room. So it's the four of you. All right, great. I'm just going to post some additional information in the chat, and then we will get started with my talk. All right, so I'm just going to put everyone's information in here again. Yeah, so we heard tonight from Satora, Cara, Dr. Jim, and then you'll be hearing from me, Laureli. And we all have specials tonight. So tonight or the next few days, if you're interested in purchasing products or sessions. Oh yeah, the breakout room is free tonight. I've already got everybody in there at the moment though. It's just a deeper conversation about their work. And so if you, I'm gonna say, yeah, so in the next few days, if you're interested in signing up for sessions or purchasing any products, etc., you get the discounted rates. Sorry, I know someone else is asking about joining, but I don't think I'm able to add anyone else to the breakout room. Let me see, maybe I can. Maybe I can. It looks like maybe I can since there's only one room. I will experiment. Let's see. Will it let me? Okay, I'm going to attempt to. There we go. Great. It works. I can. All right. I couldn't do that before. All right, great. Let's see. So I am, oh goodness. Get myself all ready for me. Just one moment. An interesting multitasking journey. All right. Well, I'm Laureli Shimayo. So I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. And I'm going to be sharing a bit about my intuitive eye readings tonight. I'm going to share my screen. All right. You all should be able to see my screen. I see if I can make it a little bit bigger too. Well, more centered. All right, great. Oh, so in addition to reading people's eyes, I also teach people how to read eyes. And maybe just before we start too, I'll share, you all can get a sense of how you're reading people's eyes all the time. By if you think about when you've met someone with dark sunglasses, right, and you can't see their eyes, right, there's so much missing. And as soon as you see their eyes, there's so much that's there. And we're going to focus, well, the archetypes that I read in people's eyes are called thrive types. I think of them as archetypes for thriving. And we're going to focus on a trait tonight called worldview. These are lessons of consciousness. So if you're willing, if you, you can do this sitting. If you're willing to do an exercise with me, and you don't need to have your screen on. This is just something you'll be able to do privately. So tighten yourself up, pull everything in towards your, like your spine toward the center. Tighten up, hold in, hunch down, small. And while you're in this position, look around. And notice, what does the world look like? Okay. And now, and I'm gonna unshare for a moment. So choose someone's face in the video or someone's name. I guess not that many of us are showing, so it's a little harder here, but look at someone in the video as though you really want them to like you. So that experience of looking at someone. Or if there's no one, no face you can draw to, think of someone that you care about. You really want them to like you and get that feeling in you and what that's like. All right, and now, so now loosen your arms and your shoulders and wiggle your spine a bit and take a breath. And feel your body. And now look around. It might be the screen or it might be the space you're in. So look around and see what's here and who's here. So thinking about your life journey, right? The growth path that you've been on. Do any of those three, did they feel familiar? Right? Either when you're tight and small and looking around, or looking at someone so you want them to like you, or when you're loose and flowing and you've taken a breath and you're connected to yourself. Mm-hmm. So which of those have felt familiar? And which one is most similar to the way you live your life now? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go over a few slides. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat as I go along, and I'm going to open up the chat window so I can see if anyone asks any questions as we're going through. All right, great. And then if you don't understand something, feel free to just jump in. You can unmute. I'm fine with interruptions. If I don't notice your comment in the chat. Yeah, so we'll go along and do that. Check timing. Okay, great. So as I mentioned, I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. It's particularly great having Dr. Jem on the same time as me. I used to be a molecular biologist. So funny history. So where she's about microbes, I was about molecules. And so the molecules inside all of us that create the physical structure that we are. And over time, I explored my interest in people, studied with somatic psychotherapists. So I now do intuitive eye reading and body psychology coaching. So I'm an intuitive artist, and I think of myself as a people scientist. Tonight we're going to explore worldview. I'll share a bit about what it is, why you want to know, and how you can use the awareness of worldview, and a bit of how you can see it in other people. So what is worldview? Worldview is the context or the lens through which we see everything, the way we define success, right? It's how we determine what matters. It's when and why we take action, and it's just a description of how open we are. And how do you recognize it? So it's by looking at what you do, why you do it, who matters to you, when do you walk away from something or someone, and how much connection you feel, and with what? Or when you're looking at someone else, how much connection you feel with them. And it shows in people's eyes. So these are all of the eye archetypes, the thrive types that I look at in people. These are 7 talents that describe our purpose, what we naturally value and contribute, what we share in the world, what triggers us. There are growth lessons in these too, and I've taught a class on how to read people with these 7 talents, and that course is available recorded. I just decreased the price on that one. It's not up on the website yet. And this is our pacing or rhythm, the speed at which we integrate and share and move in the world. This is how we make decisions, how we most easily communicate, what motivates us. And we're born with all these traits. And then defense is how we protect ourselves. It forms the first 2 years of life. And then worldview is consciousness. And this is what we'll be exploring tonight. And before we deepen in worldview, I want to mention that this is a growth path as well as a description of your essence or your soul. So in all these traits, we can grow to be fluid. And when we grow to be fluid, we have access to all of the range of the options. It's just so important on the way there that we accept what's natural and really deepen in what's natural and come to love what's natural. So with all these traits that we're born with, there's what's naturally and authentically true of us. And then in childhood, our job is to get love and attention. And so a lot of us learn to pick up masks, right? False masks that we hold over ourselves. And if we attempt to be fluid before we've actually accepted what's natural, it's like putting a false mask, a consciousness mask over the top, and it doesn't actually help us grow. It doesn't help us grow through our lessons at all. It actually keeps us stuck. So accepting what's natural is super important. And so with these traits, we can grow to be fluid. And with the 7 talents, there are a set of lessons. This is a simplified version of the lessons where we grow from the outside in. So it's relaxing into who we are. When we feel scared or stressed, we temporarily come back to the outside. And I don't have anything marked here on worldview because worldview is a set of lessons itself. It's the only one of these where it's a set of lessons all the way through. For these other traits, there are some options and fluid, options and fluid, options and fluid, etc. All right. Yeah, so worldview is what we're focusing on tonight. So in general, right, so worldview, there are consciousness lessons. It's a summary of the pathway of our growth. So while we're growing in all these other traits, moving towards fluid here, we're also moving in worldview. While we're growing in the lessons of our talents, we're also moving in the lessons of worldview. We have to move in worldview to move in all these other traits, and we have to move in all the traits together in order to fully move in worldview. So they're all sort of interconnected. Right, and our worldview is like our orientation, our philosophy, our framework. As I said, it's the context in which we engage everything. And I think the chakras are actually one of the easiest ways to talk about worldview. So we're going to do that first. So these are the orders of worldview now just kind of flipped around from that chart. So survival, right? The vitality of our being, like the essence of being alive. And so this drive to survive is here. And then security. Sort of emotional stability. It's figuring out the rules, figuring out how everything works. So it's getting some stability to being alive. And then success, you know, our solar plexus, right? So confidence, success, like, oh, I want success out in this world. And then connection, right, is the heart chakra, love. Fulfillment is the throat. It's about expression. So you'll see fulfillment is about expressing our purpose. And then presence, the third eye, is intuition. And in order to be present, we have to have all of ourselves integrated. So in all these traits, I should say this one, in all these traits, we've moved to fluid here in order to be in presence. And there are a few other things that describe presence. And then service, the universal, it's non-dual, it's all. So it's of service to all. Right, so in some ways you could say progressing through our chakras is the progression through these lessons. And we're embodying all the chakras while we're embodying these lessons as well. But it's nice the way they correlate. And it's nice the way they correlate. So let me say a little bit more of each. All right, great. So survival. Right? So we all start out in survival when we're born. We need to get our basic needs met: food, water, you know, warmth, shelter. You know, and love is important in here too, touch. Right, so we all start here. And sometimes people get stuck here. They don't have all they need, and they're alive finding all that they need. And now security, so figuring out and following the rules. The easiest way that I like to think about this is, you know, like a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, 4-year-old child that goes over to someone else's house and like, no, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to do it this way, right? This is the way we do it at my house. This is wrong. They're figuring out the rules and how things work. And they want, you know, that's how they fit in and they know where they belong. And they want everyone else to follow the rules too. Oh. And then the next step is success. So success is wanting to be successful based on what all the people around us think. So whatever our peer group is, right? So it might be, like it might be in the consciousness spiritual community, right? So we might want to be successful in that community, or successful around people in our math class when we're kids, or in junior high when we want to be popular, right? Or if you're part of like goth culture, it can be any culture that you're part of. Right? So it's competitive. It's wanting to impress them, wanting to climb on top of them. It's competitive. US society generally is in success, and all sorts of people that are in the news all the time, right, are in success. And I'd maybe say narcissists, right, are totally caught in success. in many ways, certainly when they're triggered and in that stage. And then connection. So connection is about connection, about relationships, wanting deep, real, intense relationships. We make all sorts of choices about connections and relationships. That's when we were looking at the screen of like, who do we want to have like us? And well, I'll say more about all this, but like we go through sub lessons in here. And so connections are important, and we have lessons and learnings around them, and they get difficult, and all sorts of things happen there, intense. And then fulfillment. So fulfillment is now, instead of the connections with all these other people, it's a deep connection with ourselves. Who am I? What's my purpose? What am I here to share? Who am I here to share it with? So we kind of go in and out here, where success is focused on other people, but in a superficial way. And now connection is focused on them in a real way. And now fulfillment is a connection with ourselves in a really deep way. And so maybe I'll say too, to be in fulfillment, we have to be, I know if those of you are seeing this for the first time, I know this is a ton of stuff at once. So this is just an overview. Just let it wash over you and take in what you take in. So these talents that are most directly connected to our life purpose, these are the lessons of our talents. We have to be growing into the core lessons of our talents, getting into lesson 3 and lesson 4 here, in order to be expressing our purpose here in fulfillment. So this is part of how, like, we're moving in these lessons and they're all supporting each other. And that's in reading, I can look at people and see, like, where's a particular place that they're stuck, and that's part of what helps them open, focusing on that and the lessons around that. So then after fulfillment, we have presence. So I got to go back to this chart again. Well, presence is when we're so fully present. Nothing's in the way. And so here we do the last bits of growing to fluid in all these traits. In fluid, we have conscious access to all the options. When we're in one of the options, that's the way we engage. We're kind of more stuck in that way of engaging things. Variable, we have some range, and fluid, we have access to the full range. So in presence, we are fluid in all these traits. And in the lessons of those talents, we hang out in lesson 4. And we might get scared for the moment and start to go back, and we notice so quickly and slide right back in here to lesson 4. And we also clean up any family of origin stuff. So anything that's left with our family of origin, there's none of that in the way anymore. So all those masks, right, are shed. And then service, right? So this, I describe this is like the Dalai Lama, right? Of service to all the time. So non-dual, so not all separate, we're all one, right? When I help me, I help you. When I help you, I help me. So yeah, it's a nice kind of simple way of stepping through here. Well, so it's a set of lessons. I'd say I just have all these slides. Let's go through these slides. Just feel like there's more I want to say. Well, maybe, so we start here in survival, we move into security fairly quickly. We're usually in success by junior high. And then some people don't grow past that. Some people grow into connection. Some people are on a journey where they grow more quickly, and they get to connection when they're still, even before junior high. If you believe in past lives, it depends on the past lives. And if we've already traversed a bunch of this journey, we might go through it more quickly, as some people would say. And there are steps we can actively take to grow ourselves. A big thing is accepting where we are and appreciating where we've come from, and knowing that we're taking care of ourselves the best we can. If we strive to grow and we're graspy at that growth and we're like idolizing the growth, it actually gets in our way. Some of you have heard me describe the Chinese finger puzzle before. I use it as a model for so many things. Chinese finger puzzle, like wrapped paper, and if you put your fingers in and then you try to pull them out, it wraps tighter on your fingers and you can't get your fingers out. And so if you're trying to get rid of the worldview where you are and you want to get to that other thing, right? It clings tighter, just like the Chinese finger puzzle. So it's loving where we are and appreciating where we are and appreciating the lessons of where we are. That's what allows things to loosen so we can grow. All right. So just kind of coming back here to the slide on the chakras, kind of a nice overview of this process. So right, so we're growing this direction. So with each of these worldview lessons, it differs what matters to us, right? Survival, security, success. These are the things that matter, right? Connection, right? I want connection. I go look for people that will play with me in connection. How open we are. Survival is more narrowly, right, focused. Security opens some. Success opens in a different way. Connection opens even bigger. Fulfillment is like an opening and a relaxing. Presence is that much more relaxing. And service is so fully open. And so part of reading people is feeling into how open they are. And this also determines when they act. Like, what are the things that get their attention, that have them notice an impulse and flow forward, or react and flow forward? Jerk forward, right? It's less of a response then when it's a trigger and a reaction. Right, and these also describe what we do, right? What are the actions that we're taking, right? Are we looking for food? Are we looking around at the people that we care about and seeing how they're paying attention to us, right? So someone in success, if they're standing here in a photo, right, with their sweetie, when I look at the photo, I can sense that the energy of this person isn't connected with their sweetie at all. They're looking through the camera to see how we're all going to see them. And you can learn to see this in other people. And then with fulfillment, right? So that's a noticing of my own experience, right? What's wanting to come through me, right? So these are all different motivations of why we do things, right? What we're doing and why we're doing them. And these also determine when we walk away. When is something not of interest to us, doesn't work for us anymore. And when we're growing in worldview, a lot of things happen with our friends. Some friends grow with us and some friends don't. And so part of the journey of growing is letting the people that don't meet us, right, to slide away. So it's a lot of pain, a lot of sadness to face. And some of that stepping away and allowing that space is part of what prompts other people to grow. Right? We have to risk not knowing. So I mentioned already a little bit that part of how I see it in people is how much connection do I feel in people's eyes. Right? So with connection, you really feel them looking out. And then with fulfillment, they're there, they're present, but there's more of their energy back here in themselves. So here's another like simple way of playing with these categories. So survival and security are based more in fear. Success and connection are based more in desire, right? What we want. Fulfillment, say, is more about passion, right? Discovering our passion and expressing our passion. Presence is an acceptance, right? An acceptance and all the feelings, right, that are connected to that, right? It might be pain and sadness and grief and letting all those things flow. Right? And then service is love. And so the idea of that continuum of love to fear, you know, that's all built in here too. So the most common worldviews that you'll run across in your life are likely going to be success, connection, and fulfillment. Certainly as an adult, you know, where US society is generally in success. And then groups of people, some cities, the average is more of connection. So I know some of you are in Portland. Some of people have mentioned Portland tonight. Portland is an example of a city where the average is closer to connection. Excuse me. And then there are other more conscious cities, like Sedona or Boulder, or, you know, just different pockets of places, Berkeley, you know, so where connection is more of the average. And there are, though, people in those communities, certainly an example like Sedona, and I know Boulder had this too, where some people are in success, but they want to be seen as successful in the spiritual community. So they talk it, but they don't actually embody it. So one can look like one's more conscious, but really be in success at the same time. There's a brittleness with success, right? There's like a vulnerability brittleness there. So dependent on other people, right? There's so much that's what I call outsourced, right? They're the ones that determine if we're successful, not us. right? And so connection, those are people that like show up and they're real and they're able to face some of their own lessons and some messiness, and they're delving into shadow a bit here in connection. And they want the connection with the other people, so they're still very much a looking out, but they're starting to do that growth work. And then fulfillment, that's like richly in the shadow and richly in the discovery of the light that wants to come through. Oh, so it's all about going through layers of expressing our purpose, discovering our purpose and expressing our purpose. That's what fulfillment is. So lots of people become entrepreneurs here. They switch jobs, they do new things, right? Big changes. And not everyone grows through that though. Not everyone gets there. You know, success and connection are a huge majority of people. Fulfillment is, you know, it gets narrower and narrower. And so like, I'm a matchmaker. So one of the websites like Meet Mindful is a higher concentration of people that are moving, you know, up towards fulfillment. But it's particular growth communities where you'll find people, right? Or people that, well, there's people that are so focused on their life work. And I mentioned earlier briefly that each of these have like lessons inside. And so one way of simply breaking it up is early, mid, and late. And so each of these different lessons have early, mid, and late. So an example of early connection is someone that's branching in between success and connection. So they might care what others think, and then they can go really deep with one person and really be in the relationship with one person. And they can stay connected with people, but something triggers them and they go back to, oh gosh, you know, right? What are others? Right? How are others seeing me and what's happening? And they get more superficial and more closed up, right? And they're not sharing who they really are. So that's kind of a bit of the back and forth. And then someone at mid-connection, like they're here, they're really here, right? They can be here with people. And then late connection is often choosing some more extreme connections, more extreme relationships. Oh yeah, and someone's laughing, it's great. More extreme relationships and more extreme, it's a C word that I've lost, compromise of themselves, right? So I can reach all the way over there and I can do connection, and oh my gosh, the twist into a pretzel, and right, so the mess of that and discovering the pain of putting too much priority on the other person, right? Or we happen to choose the people where it's particularly difficult, right? And I think I have another slide in here too, but so people can be in different stages of worldviews. They can be to some extent very different lessons, or they certainly can be in different of these stages here with worldviews, like in their work life and their dating life. So often people get more nervous and scared about their dating life. So often that's trailing a bit. So someone might be an entrepreneur and they're really, you know, deepening in their life work and expressing their purpose and fulfillment. But then with dating, they're scared and boom, they're back in connection and they're making choices that are much more challenging. I'm still learning a lot of lessons there. But yeah, so each of these has an early, mid, late, right? So layers of seeing this in people. So just some bits, of how to use them. Started to touch into that already. So it's about honoring people, right? So if you're interacting with someone, like, where are they? What's important to them, right? It might just be a family member or someone you want to sell to. You're a salesperson, or, you know, all kinds of things. The people at work in your work life, right, are different than people in the rest of your life. So how to meet and honor people. How to honor, you know, accept and have patience with yourself, right? And grow yourself. Right? So honoring yourself and having patience with yourself and loving yourself, so important to growing yourself. Understanding challenging relationships. I'll say a little bit more in a moment about people interacting in different worldviews and what that's like. So it's strategizing solutions, right? Not just understanding, but what do you do about it, right, when something's challenging? Sometimes there are specific ways of interacting and engaging or not engaging, and sometimes the message is not this person, not this time. So you can make choices about who to work for, knowing more about worldview, right? It's worldview is one of the most important traits. It's the most important thing, right, with choosing relationship. And this is really a work relationship and a romantic relationship. Super important, because if we're messed up in worldview, it's a huge mess, which I'll show in the next couple of slides. Right? So work, right, relationship, matchmaking, partnering in business, like all these things, like it's just worldview is so critical. Growing your clients, if you're a practitioner, right, it's great to know this too, right, meeting them where they are, helping them love themselves where they are, and then helping them expand. All right, so I mentioned that these three are the most common that you'll be running into. So let's take a person in success and a person in connection attempting to connect with each other. Right, so the person in success is like, oh, do you like me? Do you like me? And they're looking to other people. Do you like me? Like they may not even really, this person may just be a status symbol, you know? They don't actually care about this person. They're just here because they look good on their shoulder, you know? And the connection person though is like, me, I want to connect with you. Come on, are you available? I want to connect. And this person is really looking at all these other people and seeing what they think. Right, so it's incredibly frustrating to the success person that this person is not playing the game well, and it's extremely frustrating to the connection person that this person isn't actually available for the connection. Right, so that's a mess. Same thing with companies. If the company wants, the company wants everyone to, you know, look good, and our image matters, and employees wanting to work there, that they want people to honor each other and treat each other well and treat the clients well, and that's a big mess, right? So now, connection and fulfillment. So let's take the connection person again. And now we have someone in fulfillment, right? So the connection person wants the relationship, and the fulfillment person is more focused on themselves and their purpose and why they're here and following their impulses. So they might connect and they might not connect. And this person might take it personally. Why aren't you there? Right? And this person kind of feels like that person's clingy and needs a bunch of attention. I'm here. Don't you want to be in a relationship? I do, and I don't. And I do. Now I don't. Now I'm focused over here, and don't you want that for me? You can kind of see how some of these dynamics happen, right? So dating, super important that we're in similar enough worldviews. And business, oh, I didn't describe business here. Oh yeah, let's see. So connection and fulfillment. So if you're a fulfillment person attempting to work at a connection company, you want to work hours that are good for you. You want flex time. You want to do work you love. You don't have that much energy to do the things you don't like anymore. Employer does not like that so much, right? Or if you're a connection person attempting to work in a group that's fulfillment, that would be a little harder of a connection, but oh goodness, what would that look like? I don't usually have this situation to talk about so much. They might be running around trying to please others more. They might feel kind of lonely. I don't usually talk about that one that much. Usually the fulfillment people don't bring in someone else in connection, but that can totally happen, and it's a mismatch. They might be trying to get that person to share their opinion. What do you really want? No, I want you to do what feels good to you, and the person can't say. This depends on all kinds of other traits too, but gives you an idea. All right. Well, so recognizing or reading someone's worldview, right? So you want to be looking at what they're doing, why they're doing it. And, you know, looking at a photo, you don't know. There are some ways of feeling into it and imagining what they might do. Your mind is like a great projection machine, right? We make stories all the time. So it's really letting yourself play and make stories and discover what it is that you can already see and feel into. Right, so who are they doing it for? Notice, where does their energy go in the photo? Who are they paying attention to? This example I gave was someone, right, that's got their sweetie. And, you know, is there energy here with their sweetie and they happen to be in the photo, right? And the energy's on their sweetie, or are they looking out there and they're thinking about all the other people out there, right? So there are ways of sensing into that. You can imagine engaging that person, right? If they're in a photo, like, what would it be like to interact with them? And again, let your mind make up stories. It's a great way to use your projection apparatus for good, right? Is sensing what's going on. And then how much connection do you feel when you look at them? How much connection do you feel in their eyes? So these are the kind of things that we'll practice. So here's an example of a slide for you to look at. So this is Jim Carrey, and he's an example of someone that's gone through a lot of growth, and he's someone of whom we have lots of photos. And it's a little tricky when someone's an actor, but this gives you a bit of an idea. So this is him back here as a young kid in security, right? Trying to figure out the rules, trying to fit in. He mentioned that he was really shy when he was younger. And so here's success. So in these photos around here, and this part of it is the role he plays, but this is really where he is too. He wants people to like him. So when you look at his eyes, you can see him looking, but do you actually feel any connection with him? Right? I mean, here's like a smugness, and he wants you to have the experience that you have connection, but he's not actually really connecting. right? And here he's looking, but he's not seeing. He's like off thinking about something else. So a little bit more success, but it's starting to get a little more subtle. Like he's really just playing it up so much here, but it's hard to really feel him. But if you look here now, okay, you really feel him here, right? And his energy's there. It's not fully there, but it's, right? You're starting to really feel him as a person. And, you know, so he's already starting here a little bit. So softening, just more softening. And so this is where, you know, he's been doing his work the whole time, but he's doing it in a much more relaxed way. He's doing it in a way that he really wants to. I don't know enough of the details of his career, but he's saying no to some things and he's saying yes and finding his own flavor of how he's in the acting world, right? I just know that he's involved in making all kinds of things now at that point. And then he's starting to move into presence. There's that much more relaxation, that much more healing. When something comes up that's a trigger, the person is less likely to get triggered, right? And they're more likely to be bendy and flow with it. So hopefully you can start to feel some of that. And like he's looking out to connect with you. So hopefully you can feel and sense some of that here. So I'm going to be teaching a class on the 7 worldviews, right? There'll be 4 different classes. Right, so I'll be sharing how to experience being each worldview, some exercises of playing that out, a little bit of like what we did in the beginning. Lists of their values, their behavior, their intentions. Right? So you have charts to reference and things like that. What physical traits to look for in their eyes, and maybe some things that are showing up in their face and their body, and certainly the way people decorate themselves and all kinds of things. Lots of photos of famous people to practice and get used to noticing those details. And I'll give you some tips on how to coach people to grow. And this is the, I just got this scheduled. I just tuned the schedule right for this right now. So Sunday, May 31st, I'll do an intro. So it'll be similar to what I did tonight, and I'll go deeper. You get some more about how to see people, more examples. And then I'll be teaching 4 Mondays in June. Right, so 2 hours. So it'll be 30 each or 120. Learn to Read Eyes is the site where I have many more details on how to read the 7 talents. I've taught that class many, many times. And this is going to be a new one that I'm developing here. So I don't have much up on that yet. And then just a reminder, so these are all the Thrive types, right? All these archetypes. And as I mentioned, for like career and for matchmaking, worldview is the most important thing that I look at. So yeah, super important trait. And just for growing ourselves, right? It's the basic framework of how we all grow. All right, and here's more information on me, my contact info, and I will put it in the chat too as soon as I'm stopped sharing my screen. So I do my intuitive eye readings work, body psychology coaching, and life leadership love coaching, right? All different applications. I say too that, so while these are all the traits that I'm looking at in your eyes, you know, a few other small things sometimes are relevant. To grow, to be fluid in all these, I'm often using things like body psychology. So the body psychology tools are part of what helps people grow. So in some of the tips that I give for how to shift between the worldviews, I'm sure I'm going to be sharing some body psychology stuff. Yeah, so Learn to Read Eyes is where I have details on the classes. If you want to schedule a complimentary session with me or an actual session, schedule Laureli.com. More information on me, LaureliShimayo.com, and this branches to all the different websites that I have. I have a website for more of my coaching work. I have the website, it's thrivetypes.com. Thrivetypes.com is the website for all the archetypes. MeWeFairs.com is the website for like this event and all these other fairs and awakening panels and things that I run. And this is the special right now. So my work normally pre-COVID is, it's wild and crazy, is $125 to $175 an hour. I've decreased my rates to, I think it's $75 to $125 an hour. And then at my fairs or at this event, you can get the lowest rate, which is $60 an hour. And you can also do really small chunks here too. All right, great. And I'm happy to answer questions. I love this. I know it's tons of information. Go to like the pretty chakra slide. Yeah. I hope you all have enjoyed my presentation. And yeah, I can put some more information in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any questions. And I have lots of classes recorded also. the one on how to read people with the 7 talents, but I've also got body psychology classes and all kinds of different things. And I'm just attempting to find where I've hidden, here we go, the information on tonight. There we go, I've got that. Yeah, if you have a question, you can write something in the chat, or you can, write something in the chat, or it's fine if you want to unmute too. And then here's the forum to share feedback tonight, if you haven't done that. And looks like Cara is still going in her breakout room too. It's great.
Laureli, I have a question.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So the 7 talents and the worldview, how does that development connect? I imagine that the lessons of the 7 talents somehow influence how we go through the stages of the worldview, right?
Yes, there's a correlation. It's not like exact. So for example, survival, security, and even some success, definitely some success. While we each have 3 different talents. I don't have like a big chart on the talents. So of these 7, each person has 3 and they come in an order. And I might have that chart. No, I don't have that chart open. So we have 3 talents and we have masking. And in survival, I'm not even thinking about talents all that much. Security talents are definitely starting to show up. Success, our masks are going to be important. So we're wanting to have other people approve of us. And so whatever talent we think we need to be, we will do that. So like, for example, we only have so much capacity to really express it, maybe in a young age. But so like, think of like some little kids, like they play and they're funny, and some kids are really naturally funny and really good. But then, the cutesy, cutesy. I was not a very feminine girl at all. But so if I did some of the cutesy thing to get attention, that would totally be a mask, right? And that was just based on the adults around me and what worked to get that attention. And so in connection, we're starting to express our natural talents more. So these early lessons of the talents, these are challenging shadow sides. So these would show up some in success too. And then lesson 3 is a deeper real expression. So lesson 3, we easily could be sharing some in connection. And then fulfillment, we have to be starting to get into some aspects of lesson 4 here of the talents to be able to share our gifts. We might be somewhere in between 3, 4 of our natural talents, right? To be deepening in who we really are. And then presence, right? We're in lesson 4. We're solidly in lesson 4. So that gives you an example. And then I could say too, like in terms of service for the worldviews. So there's a paradox for each of these talents in their growth process. So while artisans are all about freedom and very rebellious in the beginning, they're able to commit and focus and choose and manifest. Or scholars start off all about the data and the information, and they grow to be intuitive knowers here in 4, where they don't know how they know or if it's right. And priestess starts out so attached to what they see, but they become all about alignment and not attached to anything, right? Except for alignment, I would say. So I guess, and maybe another point, what I was attempting to say here was, warriors start off doing everything themselves, and to get to lesson 4, they have to become more like Queen King, where they delegate. And so artisans are all about freedom, but they have to get more like commitment, which is more like priestess. Or scholars start off totally in their head, and they have to get more into their body and their heart, which is more like warrior, or server, or priest. Or priestess as they grow, they get more like server. Queen King as they grow, they get more like sage. Sages as they grow kind of get more like server. I've never really thought if there's an exact pattern of how that happens. I'm like in my head, I'm thinking about things like Enneagram and patterns. And so I wonder if there's a way I could work out some patterns of what's common. But as we grow into the center, like the really core of the center, we end up picking up aspects of the others. So it's a little similar to how as we grow to be fluid, we then have access to all of the traits, right? So the talents do a little bit of that flavor too. So I hope that gives you an idea of a bit of how they're connected here in worldview.
Yeah, thank you. And it seems like we along the way we drop our masks and become more of who we really are.
We do. As we grow into the center of the lessons of our talents, we have to be letting our masks go so that we can let those talents really.
Yeah,
really show
and
through.
that also goes for the worldview, right? It's more a journey of getting out of the mask and into who we really are.
Well, the worldview never has a mask itself. It's really just the different stages of these lessons.
Oh.
Yeah. We're on the worldview where we are. Now, again, there's like the mask of there's like as people attempt to look spiritual and they're not, they're actually in success and they just want to be seen as spiritual. But that's it kind of looks like a mask, I guess, but it's not really a mask. Yeah. It's just success.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you everyone for coming. I know we're gonna keep going a little bit because the breakout room is still going. I will send them a message. But let me see if I put the rest of the information about everyone back in the chat again, about the 4 of us. Oh, and we have lots more events that are coming up. I'll put that in the chat right now too. So we have tomorrow, I think that's tomorrow. Yeah, we have one of our MeWe fairs again. So that's from 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. There'll be about 15 practitioners all sharing their work. There'll be short talks, only about 6 minutes long. And then practitioners will be doing sessions. They'll also be selling their work at a discount. And we have an intuitive panel where we briefly answer questions from the audience. And then Friday, it's May 8th, from 6 to 9, we have our first pop coaching panel. So that's similar to our fairs, except that they're going to be coaches. And the coaches will be offering coaching to everyone. And then on Sunday, May 10, we have another set of talks. So just like tonight, we have a set of talks. And I don't have those up right now, so I can't say exactly what they are, but they're going to be great also. Thank you so much, everyone, for helping us launch this experience. And I will be posting the recording on our MeWe Fairs Facebook page. And then let me put the information for everyone in the chat. And if you haven't copied the chat, if you want to copy the chat, so just go down in the chat and click those 3 dots. And you can get a copy of the chat with everyone's contact info. And if anyone is not able to find contact info for people, just reach out to me and I will get it to you. All right, the rest of our contact info. All right, sweet. Well, I'm gonna message them. All right, great. Yeah, and any other questions about mine while we're finishing up? That's great. Happy to do that. All right, cool. I'm going to bring them back to the breakout room. And thanks everyone for participating. This has been really lovely. Great experience. We had great attendance, Satora. It's very exciting.
Yes.
All right, we've got about 40 seconds before the breakout room closes and they will be coming back. Let me see if there's anything that anyone else wants to share while we're all together. Six more seconds. We'll have a few more in our room. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone coming back in. Sorry, I hope I didn't interrupt you in the middle too much. We just needed to get finished, so. Yeah, it's great. So I just posted more information in the chat. I'll post it again with all of you just coming right back in. If you want to share your feedback, this is the forum. And you'll be entered into a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice. And the contact information for everybody is going here in the chat. And let me get one more post in here, and then if you want to save the chat, you can do that by clicking where you'd write in the chat. There are 3 dots, and if you click the 3 dots, it should save the chat. And the recording will get posted, on the MeWe Fairs page. So if you want, you can watch the last talk. And thanks so much, everyone. So Cara and Satora, if there's anything, just last thing you want to say, feel free to jump in, and it's fine if you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Laureli, sorry we missed your talk. I'm glad we can still tune in. Ugh. And for those that missed it, Laureli's work is amazing. I have trained with her and her eye work. I mean, not to the extent that she knows. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. And you were talking about consciousness, right? And the different levels, especially for relationships, it will pair pretty well with stuff that we were talking about. So definitely listen back into her.
No, it's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. I agree. What's the word? Same here. I love your work, Laureli. It's great. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. This has been really great. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share.
That's great. Thank you. Oh, Anu, you asked about how to watch my talk. So I'm going to put, so this is the page. This is our MeWe page. So this is the one that goes to the events. And I wasn't able to get up on Facebook, so I'm going to save the talk, upload it to YouTube, and then I will post it on the page. And so probably by tomorrow, yeah, and you can save the chat if you want, but yeah, so it's just facebook.com/PG/MeWe Fairs. This recording will be up there as well by tomorrow. Yeah. And then I'm going to be, here, maybe I'll share my screen for a moment so you can see that too. Pardon me, I've got stuff on here. All right, so these are the worldviews and how they connect with chakras as an example. And then I'm going to be teaching a class. So I'm going to do a free intro Sunday, May 31st. So if you want, it'll be a little more in depth than what I did tonight. I'll do a class on the worldviews, and then I'm going to do a series of 4 classes on how to learn to recognize them in people. So that's coming up in June. And we have a comment. Oh yeah, so Cara is mentioning, yeah, I can private message if you want to get on her newsletter. That's great. And if you fill out feedback, the feedback form, we will also share our newsletters with you. So great way to get in touch with us. All right, sweet. Well, thank you everyone so much. I'm going to turn off the recording. And we're at mewefairs.com, MEWEFAIRS.com. And we have so many more events coming up. Tomorrow evening from 6 to 9, we have a fair with about 15 practitioners. We're going to be doing a short intuitive panel where we answer questions from the audience. We'll also be doing shorter talks, so 6-minute talks. And then all those practitioners are available for sessions, and they have discounted sessions as well. And then on Friday, we have something similar to a fair, but it's for coaches. So we have a number of coaches that will be there. Our first pop coaching panel. Same thing, they'll be giving talks and also be doing free coaching for people that attend, and they'll also be doing sessions and have their sessions at a discounted rate. And then Sunday we'll have another set of talks, so similar to these 4 talks. Someone else is joining us, amazingly. So just that these 4 talks, we have another set of 4 talks that will be coming on Sunday. So again, thank you so much. And whoever just jumped in, maybe it's someone that left and came back in, but we're just getting ready to finish up.
Laureli,
the feedback form. Yeah, let me share that again.
That's what I said. Somebody asked for the feedback form.
Yeah, great. The feedback form. So let's put it in the chat. So yeah, right there is the link at the bottom for the feedback form. Well, thank you so much for your exuberant, passionate participation. I was very happy about that. All right, great. I'm going to stop the recording.